president and the chair will emphasize more, but I had the privilege of working with sir, and when I joined, I think in 2018 or 19, and that's when I met him at couple of occasions, and I've seen the dynamism he had, and it was never like no for anything. Karo, I'm there. Just do it. Just do it. So that was the spirit I think that he inculcated, and even like 1 or 2 years that I could spend with him, I think I'll always remember him. So you know. It's an honor again for the Federation. And I think before we begin the event, I would request the dignitaries, the President, Chair, and our chief guest for today to please present the floral tribute to our late Suraj Prasad Ji Agarwal's in his honor. I invite the family members as well. I'm extremely honored that the FTCCI is conducting Sri Suraj Prasad Ji Agarwal's Memorial Distinguished Lecture Series on New Frontier of Healthcare. And I'm sure Mr. Shekhar Agarwal, under your leadership, will be able to organize many such programs. As we reflect on the late Sri Suraj Prasad Ji Agarwal's life and contribution, we must head the vision laid by him and deliberate upon, all the support and the vision, mission that he set for this federation. So we should take it forward. We're also humbled and thankful to Dr. Ajay Kumar, Commissioner Telangana Vaidya Vidhana Parishad, for accepting our invitation. Okay, so he would be joining soon. Okay. And Dr. UN Das, eminent physician and scientist and CEO UND Life Sciences. Thank you so much, sir, for gracing the occasion. The Federation has been playing a very active role from last 105 years, and through our 20 expert committee, we've been organizing series of programs, seminar, workshop. And I think thanks to the pandemic that, it pushed us to start this committee, healthcare and disaster management, which we took it off under the chairmanship of Mr. Shekhar Agarwal, and there were a series of programs that we initiated, and today's program is also one of such kind. And for all the new members and the non-members who have joined us online, we would like to show a short film of FTCCI before we begin the session.
1917, the year when a dedicated organization, the Deccan Chamber of Commerce, was formed to encourage trade and commerce activities. The historical journey of the organization has witnessed great transformation as per the changing needs of the industry and businesses. The Federation of Telangana Chambers of Commerce and Industry, FTCCI, a legacy of excellence, voice of the industry, representing interests of over 25,000 businesses of all sizes, sectors and regions, is empowering industry and trade of Telangana state. A world leader in pharma, a global hub for vaccine, home to all major MNCs, leader in IT exports, and emerging first stop of India. FTCCI advocates a pro-business environment, caters to the needs of MSMEs, budding entrepreneurs and traders through its advisory services in taxation, market information, industry-related issues, B2B connection. The Chamber has its nominees in the state-level advisory committees to help drive business productivity. FTCCI aids in providing certificate of origin for exporters, issues visa recommendation for business travels. The Federation imparts job skills through its dedicated skill center. It has adopted 14 government ITIs to improve the employability of students. With a uniquely global perspective, the FTCCI events reach a highly engaged audience, policymakers and stakeholders aiming towards Atmanirbhar Bharat.
FTCCI to work with government, tell us and guide us कि हम लोग क्या कर सकते हैं to remain competitive, to remain better than our competition. FTCCI for joining us, and I thank the office bearers of FTCCI for inviting me. Jai Telangana, Jai Hind.
Come and be a part of this dynamic and proactive organization. Together, let's realize the vision for a progressive future.
Thank you so much. I now invite the dignitaries onto the stage. President, Mr. Anil Agarwal, FTCCI, Mr. Shekhar Agarwal, Convener, Healthcare Committee and past President, Mr. BP Acharya, IAS retired and also the Chief Advisor of FTCCI, Professor R. Redana, Executive President, FEBA, Dr. UN Das, eminent physician and scientist, CEO, UND Life Sciences, Dr. Vyakarnam Nageshwar, pulmonologist, allergist and immunologist from Ashwini Allergy Center on allergy, asthma and sleep disorder. Before we begin the session, I would request President to please present a plant as a token of our appreciation and welcome our guests. Thank you so much. I now invite Mr. Anil Agarwal, President, to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening. Dr. Ajay Kumar is not there. Dr. UN Das, eminent physician and scientist, UND Life Sciences, USA. Dr. Vayakarnam Nageshwar, pulmonologist, allergist and immunologist, founder and director, Ashwini Allergy Center. Dr. Reddanna, Professor Reddanna, please. Sanjay Kumar Agarwal, Chairman, Landmark Builders and Managing Committee member. And members of Managing Committee and past presidents, distinguished guests, invitees, press and media. Ladies and gentlemen, health. Recently, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, his statement, it was widely published that worst investment he had made is in health. And he has advised to invest most in that. It gives us a reminder that ultimately health matters more than any of our, you can say, worldly wealth. And if you got how rich you are, but health is the issue, then there is always an issue. Welcome to you all to today's Sri Surat Prasad Agarwal Memorial Distinguished Lecture on New Frontiers of Healthcare. Suraj Prasad Agarwal was born on June 22nd, 1946 at Hyderabad. He reached the heavenly abode on July 1st, 2020. FAPSI organized many interactive meetings, seminars, workshops, and training programs during his term. Sri Suraj Prasad Agarwal, the managing committee member of then the Federation of Andhra Pradesh Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and he became president of FAPSI in the year 2008-9. During his tenure at FAPSI, he dedicated himself to inspiring business environment in the state and continuously strived to resolve contemporary issues. His ideas and suggestions were well accepted by government, and many were incorporated in policies of government. During his presidential period, many national and international events were organized to showcase the state as an investment destination. He also led many more business delegations to promote trade and industry of our state. He served a lot of FAPSI directly and indirectly in all the endeavors of the government to promote growth, more particularly new tech industry. He was also member of consultative committee of various government departments. Today, we have gathered here to learn more about infection, inflammation, and immunity and allergy, asthma, and sleep disorder by our eminent speakers. Without making much time, I think I should end here and give the speakers more time so that they can enlighten us on this. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Mr. Shekhar Agarwal, Chair, Healthcare Committee, to give the theme address.
Thank you, Vishal. Most eminent health experts, Dr. Das, Dr. Nageshwar, Executive President, FABA, Professor Reddanna, Chief Advisor and Chief Designer of today's seminar, Shri BP Acharya, IS retired. Sir, I say Chief Designer for today's program. Our dynamic President, Anilji, CEO, Khyatiji, Co-Convener, Shivji, Vikramji, our managing committee members, past president, especially Raju Garu, members of health committee, distinguished guests and media, a very good evening to all of you. First of all, my heartfelt tributes to my very dear friend, philosopher, Then it's okay. It's okay. No, sir, okay. But friends, his untimely loss has taught us that we can do trade, industry, commerce, and other activities only when we have good health and good life. It's okay. Friends, though doctors, professionals, institutes, both in government and private sectors, are taking several initiatives to provide better health to our citizens, but still there is a wide gap between the medical services required and medical services available. For this, the Federation has raised to the occasion, instituted a dedicated committee on healthcare to support and provide quality and affordable health for all. We are pleased to inform that Sanjay ji and the family, Sanjay ji is the chairman for the Landmark Builders, have come forward to support the healthcare activities in memory of his late father. We would also like to compliment the government of Telangana for becoming one of the top 3 performing states in the healthcare sector. In last couple of years, the Federation has very proactively taken several measures through its health committee. I like to congratulate the Administrative Staff College of India, Dr. Bakshi, the director, Dr. Subodh, chief of the healthcare, Dr. Sazvas, or their team. Their friends, they certainly deserve a applause from all of us. During the COVID, they have done a great job. And also Mr. Muralidhar, chairman for FICCI Telangana, for their outstanding contribution to release a daily bulletin report on the analytics of COVID-19. I would like to acknowledge the real-time services for our citizens and our members: free online doctors consultation, free oxygen concentrators, hotel quarantine, hospital services, free plasma services, vaccination, medical camps. Mainly Dr. Anand, Dr. Lingaraju, Dr. Srinivas, both from the Government Homeopathy College, CA Manoj Kumar, Shashikanji, our CEO, Vishala, and their teams. They also deserve a round of applause from all of us. Thank you very much. Friends, in the most challenging time of COVID, our members were constantly and regularly educated, inspired by many doctors, professionals, and experts. I would like to mention a few names. Padma Bhushan, Dr. Nageshwar Reddy, Dr. Satish Reddy, Chairman DRDO, Dr. Varshini, Director Ayush, Dr. Mishra, Director CCMB, Dr. Hari Prasad, Chairman Apollo Hospitals, Dr. Kabra, Cardiologist, Gandhi Medical College, Dr. Bhavani, Natural Care Hospitals. This year, the Federation and the committee would like to focus on the government's and public agenda in the interest of all citizens to provide quality and affordable health for all. And it's initiated to develop an actionable Vision 2030 with Administrative Staff College as a knowledge partner. Dr. Subodh is there always with us to support us. ASCI is one of the most credible institute in India and the world. Health sector and challenges are very big, cannot be addressed by any single person or institute, however big it is, for which all of us have to come together and work together for a better today and better tomorrow. We seek guidance and support of each and every one of you. Amongst us, we have 2 most eminent doctors, Dr. Das and Dr. Nageshwar. I shall appreciate if they can also guide us in their respective specialization to offer quality and affordable health for all citizens in Telangana. Like to submit 2 lines for our 2 eminent doctors here. The woods are lovely, dark and deep. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep. I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Can we have a round of applause for our 2 eminent speakers here? Friends, thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Mr. B.P. Acharya, IAS retired Chief Advisor of FTCCI, to deliver address on the Federation of Asian Biotech Associations, FABA. Sir, please stand.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for this opportunity to speak a few words about FABA. In fact, this event today marks many happy coincidences, which is a very good augury for the state and for the organization also. I would try to jog your memory to 2003, when the Federation had come with FABA, the predecessor of FABA. In fact, the predecessor body of the FTCCI, which was FAPSI, had joined hands with the predecessor body of FABA, which was called the All India Biotech Association. This photograph shows the event called Biotech Invest, which was held in January 2003. You have the president of FAPSI, Mr. Tibrewalji, who was there in that function. We had come together to see that the biotech and life sciences sector in the state develops. That was a beginning that we made in 2003. And I'm happy to say that the beginning, the seed that we planted has become a big tree now. The Genome Valley that we talk about, and which attracts investment almost on a weekly basis. This is the cluster which is the best life science cluster in India, and certainly one of the best in the world. In fact, today itself, there was an announcement of 7,000 crores investment by Indian Immunological to the Genome Valley cluster. And the other happy coincidence is that there's a new park which is being developed in the Genome Valley, thanks to Ms. Sanjay Agarwal. He is also launching the Genome Valley Innovation Park. The worthy son of Suraj Prasad ji is here today to add value to the Genome Valley. These are the happy coincidences which mark this occasion. The speakers were here, they're eminent in their old ways. And FABA as an organization was conceived in the year 2004, after the event in 2003 that we came together. Idea was to showcase Genome Valley, where it was beginning to grow, and also to see that FABA was conceived in the next year, in the 2004, when the Biotech Invest gave way to BioAsia. At that time, we were competing with Bangalore, which had the Bangalore Bio as a flagship event of Bangalore, guided by Kiran Mazumdar Shah. The BioAsia is a flagship event of FABA, which is held every year. This is the 18th edition of BioAsia, which will be held in February next year. There, the idea of a platform for networking among Asian countries was mooted. That is FABA, and it has got 18 chapters today. Till then, it was considered that biotechnology, life sciences happen only in the US or the European countries. It was a US-centric, European-centric phenomenon. No one ever thought that it can happen in Asia. That is where we wanted to have this network of Asian countries. And by design, we saw that a president who's of FABA won't belong to India. Today, for instance, we have a Bangladesh scientist, eminent scientist, who is the president, Dr. Ghani of Bangladesh, who is perhaps joining online with us. Dr. Anwar Naseem was the first president from Pakistan. Iran, Thailand, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, Russia. These are the Asian countries who are members. There are 18 chapters, country chapters. Many of them are joining online today. It's a platform for networking and learning from each other. How we can see that biotechnology grows in the Asian countries, that was the idea. So it has been successful to a large measure. And the new initiative which Professor Redana and his team have taken is the FABA Academy, to have an industry and the academia interface. That is where the University of Hyderabad is playing a very critical role. They have institutions such as the BioNest, Aspire, where they're incubating the startups within the campus itself. The FABA and FTCCI if they are coming together, marks a very happy augury for the state. I see in future we're going to have several such events where biotechnology, the companies of life sciences, pharma, and FTCCI jointly organize programs such as this. I compliment Shekharji for his vision. As he mentioned, he was so emotionally attached to the subject during the pandemic. Suraj Prasadji's passing away, untimely passing away in a way, triggered this committee. Otherwise, no one would associate FTCCI with healthcare. But that is where they realized, unless you protect your own health, there is no question of business or trade or commerce. That is how this important committee was formed. And when he requested me to become part of the committee, although initially I was reluctant that I have no direct experience in this field, but he persuaded me to join this committee because it's important. So that is how I am there in this. And as the patron of FABA and as chief advisor of FTCCI, I feel proud and lucky that we are having this event here. And I hope that this is the beginning of many such events to be held in future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your introduction of FABA. Now I request Professor P. Reddanna, President of FABA, to introduce our speaker, Dr. U.N. Das.
So good evening, and let me also formally welcome on behalf of the FABA to this event being organized by FABA and FTCCI. It is almost after 20 years we are joining together to organize this kind of event. So I know Dr. U.N. Das for more than 3 decades. As an eminent physician and well-recognized researcher in the field of polyunsaturated fatty acids and eicosanoids. If you see, our body has inbuilt ability to face any kind of stress conditions, whether it is physical, chemical, or biological, through a variety of molecules that it can generate. And among those molecules, the polyunsaturated fatty acid oxygenated metabolites, which are called as eicosanoids, are there. And Dr. Das has been working in that area for more than 4 decades. And that is the area, in fact, we together conducted an international conference at some time in 1990. And I also have seen him in 1990 itself, conducting clinical trials on the use of one of the unsaturated fatty acids for the treatment of glioma. So after his term from the Nizam Institute of Medical Sciences, he briefly worked at L.V. Prasad Eye Institute and then moved to US. And I had the opportunity to meet him again in Boston. And today he is settled at Seattle, Washington, both actively involved in research and practice. And also he has started a company where he is trying to develop the products on his discoveries. And otherwise, he has guided a number of students, 18 of them. Several of them are professors. One is in our university and another professor is here. They were guided by him. And he has published almost 300 and 400 papers in leading journals. And he is the chief editor of many 3 journals, and also in the editorial board of many other journals. And such a distinguished physician and scientist is very rare. We can see a physician or a scientist, but both are involved. We can see both in him. So we are really fortunate to have him today. And I now invite Dr. Das for his presentation.
Good evening to everyone. And I should specifically thank Dr. Reddanna for inviting me to this August audience. to give a talk on my topic of interest. I think I met Dr. Redana back in 1984 or 85 when he was in Tirupati before he joined University of Hyderabad. And then we have been associated since then, and then he was in University of Hyderabad and I was in Nizams for some time. And then of course I moved back to USA. When he told me that the audience will be a mixture, I never thought that this would be such a big mixture. Because I was thinking that there will be some industrialists or business people, and most of them will be either PhDs or MDs. And I was under the impression that probably University of Hyderabad people will come here, and this may be a better location for them to come. And so I prepared my slides mostly on science, but I will try to make sense out of that. And I come very frequently to Hyderabad, once in 3 months or 4 months, spend about 3 to 4 weeks, and then again go back. For the last 20 years, I must have come maybe about 100 times like that. It's a big journey, but I enjoy because most of the time I travel with my wife, even for conferences. One of the promises I made to my wife at the time of marriage is, I will never travel alone. Okay. And probably she also wants to accompany me so that, I don't deviate from my path. Okay. And then of course now she says that she should take care of me even when I'm traveling. So we travel together to conferences and other places. So she knows many scientists in USA better than me. And they always tell me, how come that Das, your wife is more knowledgeable than you? I said that is a possibility because of the conjugal habit. So when Redana called me and asked me to give a talk, I was wondering what should be the topic I should select. Because I know that in University of Hyderabad also many people are too specialized to think about a specific topic on which I can talk. Then I thought I should select a topic that cuts across the disciplines. Nowadays in USA, we no longer believe in subspecialties. In India, you have cardiology, neurology, medicine, rheumatology, and so on and so forth. But slowly, all these specialties are being removed. And for example, the Department of Medicine now will consist of an engineer, a computer scientist, a statistician, a physics person, a mathematics person, and so on and so forth. So we think that nowadays science has no boundaries, and every field and every subject can contribute to human biology. So we think that human biology is nothing but mathematics, physics, and chemistry, but in biological science. So for all, the human body mechanical advantage is the best. It is number one. In no industry, you have a mechanical advantage of one. So if you can understand the human body well, then it will help the engineering. So now there is a new specialty coming up in USA, and which probably will come to India also. It is called as Institute of Biology Inspired Engineering. So engineers want to learn from biology. All these days, we have been developing equipment for surgery and so on and so forth based on engineering principles. But now people have realized that we can learn biology, and by imitating biology, we can develop better not only drugs and other things, but also machines that can contribute to human health. So with this brief introduction, I will be talking about infection, inflammation, and immunity. So we call it as 3I. Okay, so in fact, that is one of the specialties which we want to develop, because this infection, immunology, and inflammation, they cut across all disciplines, all subspecialties in medicine. And so my talk today will be devoted to diabetes, cancer, and to some extent to COVID and sepsis. And I will try to present a theme showing that all three diseases are not separate. They are fundamentally same. So we believe that at the molecular level, all diseases are same. Same molecules work in all these diseases. And if we can understand how these molecules are working in different conditions, we will have probably in future one single drug for every disease. So that is the idea. So it may look like a, a very utopian idea and sometimes also a crazy idea. But sometimes crazy ideas are, if they turn out to be good, that make the biology and science move forward very well. Can I have the first slide? Oh, okay. Can I come to that side to talk? Yeah.
So you can very well be here, sir. We'll go down. Please come.
Slides.
You can also sit there. Yes, sir. We'll go down.
Okay. Before we started, somebody was commenting, one of the people who sitting on the dais, that we have few people and politicians would like to have a big crowd, and unless the crowd is there, they don't want to come and talk. That reminded me a meeting which I had about 1 year or so back at University of Stanford, where I was invited to give a talk. And it was circulated, but I don't know why, what happened. There are only 10 audience in the biology special lecture. And after the lecture, we decided to, with Professor Dixon, to do a collaborative work. And in the process, we identified a new mechanism by which cells die. It is called as ferroptosis. And that is important. So it is not the number of people that is important, but it is the number of people who are interested. And I think about 6 months back, I was invited by Ramchandra Medical College in Chennai. So they asked me, you select a topic, which topic you want to talk. Then I said, are you sure? They said, yes, no problem. We have so many doctors and many PhDs and so on. Then I said, don't say no when I tell you the topic title. They said, no, tell. Then I said, the title of the talk would be, how physicians are inadvertently harming their patients. Then they said, please don't talk. So we don't realize, many times doctors don't realize that they are harming their patients, though it was not intentional. So maybe some other time I will talk about this. And I told my wife about this topic. Then she said, you don't bother about to give a talk on this topic. You write an article and publish it in a journal. They must be bold enough to publish it. But I can tell you, one of the problems with the doctors, because I am a doctor, I know, one of the problems with the doctors is they think that they know too much or they know everything. But I can tell you that if a physician is very honest, he should say that he does not know anything. When I was doing my MBBS, there used to be a professor of medicine. He used to tell us, whenever he used to take classes to explain the symptomatology and science in the patients, that when a person completes his MBBS, he thinks that he knows everything in medicine. When he completes MD, then he will realize that he only knows 50% of medicine. And when he becomes a professor, then he realizes that he knows only 25% of the medicine. And when he retires, he will realize that he does not know anything in medicine. So as your knowledge grows, you realize over a period of time that how little you know about what is happening in the human body, in the disease processes, and the type of treatment you are offering, and so on and so forth. So this is very important. It is very important to realize the limitations, the human limitations of our knowledge, and limitations of our skill, and so on and so forth. So it is with this idea, then I thought, that when Indian Institute of Technology, Hyderabad, asked me to give a talk last time when I came, I said, what can I talk to engineers? So I told them, then I will talk to you some very fundamental topic to tell you that there is no difference between diabetes and cancer. Because they are not familiar with biology and medicine, for them it is very good. Because anyway, they don't find any difference between cancer and diabetes. But when you want to talk to doctors and to PhDs, a topic like that, it looks like a stupid idea to talk like that. So today I will try to take you, though there is a little bit of molecular biology, biochemistry involved, but I will try to see how I can explain those things to the extent possible. See how there is no difference between diabetes, then COVID and cancer and so on and so forth. Can I have the next slide? Can I change the slides here? Okay, thank you very much. So we now think, previously we used to think that as you age, you develop diseases and those called as the degenerative conditions. Like for example, forgetting memory, forgetting things, then developing osteoarthritis, pains in the knees, diabetes, hypertension, heart disease. All these things were considered as degenerative conditions. Aging, for example, oh, you all age and so you are degenerating. Now we don't no longer consider them as degenerative conditions. We consider them all as inflammatory conditions. All these conditions are due to inappropriate inflammation. Inflammation means flame. That means the tissues are burning, literally burning. That burning may be very acute, it may be long duration, or it may be very severe, it may be very mild, or it will be moderate, depending upon the condition. So with that idea, we realized that over a period of time, that is it possible that we so-called degenerative conditions or so-called metabolic conditions or cancer have same fundamental issue, but because the targeting tissue is different, you are getting different diseases. So it is like, looking at a class of 50 students. When they are in the intermediate, everybody is same, everybody is studying the same subject. But down the line, after 10 years or 20 years, all these 15 candidates will be in 50 different fields. Similarly, molecules are same, but the way the molecules are attacking each tissue is different, and the target tissues are different, and so you get different diseases. So the most of the slides I prepared are my recent articles, 2 articles which I wrote. One is how inflammation and its resolution occurs, and the second thing is a new theory of aging. So aging is not due to damage to DNA or gene expression is different and so on and so forth, but it resides in the membrane, cell membrane. Then of course, some of the slides are taken from my books, which I wrote. One is called as a Perinatal Strategy to Prevent Adult Diseases. The concept is that when you are in the womb of the mother and in the first 4 or 5 years of age, what you do and how your tissues respond to the environment and to diet and other things will determine what disease you develop when you are 50 or 60 years. That means you are already programmed by the time you are in the second trimester, third trimester in the mother's womb, what disease you develop when you are 50 years or 60 years of age. So this we call as a perinatal programming. And we think that because of this concept, you have to develop preventive measures when you are in the first year of age, or when you are just born, or when you are still in the womb of the mother. So this is a new concept, and this book I wrote almost 20 years back in 2000. Okay. Now it is closely capping. Then of course, molecular basis of health and disease. What is the definition of health? Why you develop disease? And what is the difference between disease and health, and so on and so forth. Then one of my recent books has been on metabolic syndrome, that is diabetes, and there was on cancer. Because our concepts cut across all these disciplines, we could write books on different topics which are totally different. So on the surface of it, they look as though they are different conditions, but in fact, they are not. So let us come to the fundamental process of inflammation. So the inflammation inflammation can affect any disease in the body, any tissue in the body. So every disease you have developed is actually an inflammatory condition, including diabetes. People say that diabetes is due to increased glucose levels, insulin is not working properly, no exercise, and so on and so forth. They're all right. But underlying that is the inflammatory process. And because of that understanding, we found that insulin has another action other than reducing blood glucose levels. The general belief is that the main action of insulin is to reduce blood glucose levels. And that's why diabetics, when their blood glucose levels are not under good control, they are giving insulin. But we found that in addition to reducing blood glucose levels, it has got some very important action, that is to suppress inflammation. So, of course, this is just a slide showing what types of inflammation are there: acute inflammation, chronic inflammation, and so on and so forth. Acute inflammation, generally when you get, like a COVID, severe COVID, or when you have sepsis or malaria, those things. When chronic inflammation is like osteoarthritis, diabetes, hypertension, these are all chronic inflammation. Chronic means it's going on for a very long time, but it's not really very severe enough to produce any pain. But there is some amount of inflammation is going on in the tissues. There are many tissues and many molecules are involved in the process of inflammation. And they're all same, and so I will come to that a little bit later. So this is one of the slides, very standard slide. This is a very old slide also. When you take normal individuals and estimate their blood glucose levels and their lipid profile, you find that everything is normal. And then you also measure their insulin levels, which is not done routinely in any hospital by any doctors or by any endocrinologist or diabetologist. But I feel that it should be done. So if you look at this slide, when you are fasting, your blood glucose levels are, let us say, around 81 or 82. And now you take glucose or you take your full meal and then again do the blood glucose level every hour or every half an hour. This is what is called as GTT, glucose tolerance test. Then you find that immediately after eating, after 1 hour, the blood glucose levels goes up by 1.5 times or 2 times. Then over a period of time, in 3 to 4 hours time, it comes back to normalcy. So this is the standard way the blood glucose levels respond to food intake. At the same time, if you measure insulin levels, initially the insulin levels are very low when you are fasting. And the moment you eat food, the insulin levels will increase by almost 10 times or so. Yeah, I think so. 4 times it increases. So that is expected because blood glucose levels are increasing, and so the insulin should be released from the pancreas to reduce the blood glucose levels. But see the discrepancy. The fasting blood sugar increases after eating food only 1.5 to 2 times, but the insulin levels increase by 4 to 5 times. So there is a disproportionate increase in glucose level, in insulin levels. And at the end of 3 hours or so, the plasma glucose levels will come back to normalcy, to your fasting levels, which is 90, again it will come to 90 or 100. But the insulin levels will continue to be more. There are still 2 to 3 times more than the fasting levels. So when we looked at this slide, that puzzled us. And this is a very old slide. Everybody sees, every doctor must have seen, many PhDs must have seen, endocrinologists must have seen, but nobody questioned why insulin levels does not drop along with glucose levels. Then we thought there is something happening with insulin. Because if insulin levels continue to be high, even though the blood glucose levels have come back to normalcy, the patient should go into hypoglycemia. The blood glucose levels should drop and then it should become unconscious. It will not drop. It will remain at the fasting level only, 90 or 100. But the insulin levels are 2 to 3 times the fasting insulin levels. Then we thought insulin is doing something. Then we said insulin is having action other than reducing glucose levels. Okay. And then we said it must be having some action on inflammatory process, which is a very fundamental process in the body. So we measured the one gene expression in the cells, which reflects the inflammatory process. So the moment you eat food, the inflammatory genes that control the inflammatory process are increased, and after 3 or 4 hours, they again come back to normalcy. So that means one of the functions of insulin is not only to control glucose levels, but also to reduce inflammation. So the insulin levels will continue to be high as long as the inflammatory process triggered by the high glucose levels are present, and only when they come back to normalcy, insulin levels also will come back to normalcy. That is why now the action of insulin is not to reduce glucose levels, but to reduce inflammatory process. So the body has devised a mechanism by which insulin is now directed to reduce inflammation, not reducing glucose anymore. It has reduced the glucose levels to normalcy, and after that, its action is now on the inflammatory process to reduce the inflammation. That is the reason why, if it is possible, every patient should have glucose levels and also insulin levels estimated at the same time. But nobody does it. I ask all my patients to get, even though it is expensive, if you can afford it, get it done. This is because if you take 2 individuals or the same individual, today your blood glucose fasting levels are 90. Or let us say you are a diabetic, if your blood glucose levels are 200. You do exercise, you take medicines and all those things, your blood glucose levels come back to 100. At that time, you estimate your insulin levels when it is 200. Okay. And then when it comes to 100, again, you estimate insulin levels. If your diet control and if your exercise and everything is good, then there should not be any change in your glucose levels much, but your insulin levels should drop. That means insulin should be working now much more efficiently to reduce inflammation. So this is very important. So if you do proper exercise and proper dieting, your glucose levels will remain same, but your insulin levels will start dropping. So that means insulin will now work more efficiently to reduce not only glucose levels, but also to reduce your inflammation. So how do you know when you are doing dieting and exercise that whatever you are doing is right? The right is not by looking at glucose levels, but by looking at insulin levels, which nobody does. Okay, so this is very important because we did a study in 20 medical students who are the age of 20 to 23, did a glucose tolerance test and estimated insulin levels also. Already their insulin levels were very high, even though glucose levels are normal. That means already they are developing having insulin resistance. They are no longer responding to insulin properly, and so the body is trying to compensate it by producing more and more insulin. So for some time it will maintain insulin glucose levels at normal, but after some time it will fail and then they develop diabetes. And that is why Indians develop diabetes at a very young age. And of course, we did a study to see what happens if you lose weight. When you lose weight, not only your glucose levels and insulin levels drop, but also the inflammatory process drops. So when you lose weight, the inflammation is much less in the body. So that is the reason why you should try to lose weight as you are advancing in age, because with age, inflammation increases. So putting all these things together, we published 3-4 papers saying that, that insulin is an anti-inflammatory molecule and diabetes and obesity are due to inflammation and so on and so forth. Based on this concept, in Europe, a multicentric trial was done where insulin was given to patients, all those patients who are otherwise sick, even if they are not diabetics. They are not diabetics, they underwent coronary bypass surgery, they underwent a surgery for orthopedic surgery, they underwent some abdominal surgery, or they are very ill and so they are admitted in ICU or acute medical care unit. So, and they don't have diabetes to start with, and they were all given insulin infusions. Continuous glucose infusion was given and glucose levels were monitored. Surprising thing is, when this trial was done, none of these patients go into hypoglycemia because we are giving insulin, because they are resistant to insulin action, and so but at the same time, inflammatory markers were also measured, and it was found that their inflammation is subsiding as they are getting insulin. So this we call as continuous insulin infusion with continuous glucose monitoring. Of course, we have there the setup where we can continuously monitor glucose levels, and we can program the glucose monitor in such a way that if the glucose levels are 70, it will give a beep. If it is more than 200, it will give a beep. But continuous insulin will be monitored. So it was found that when continuous insulin infusions were given, the recovery process is very fast and their hospital stay is reduced by 25 to 30%. This was done almost 15 years back. Okay, and so now it is a standard practice in all USA hospitals and European hospitals to give insulin infusion to all sick patients, irrespective of their diabetic status. But somehow that is not done in India because we don't have the mechanism and to monitor insulin levels, glucose levels continuously, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that means we have described a new action for insulin, that it is an anti-inflammatory molecule. And this is, of course, further we have done further studies with a Chinese collaborators, and we have shown when you give insulin infusion, the recovery of your heart from myocardial infarction is better. Okay, so nowadays what we do is when the patient undergoes bypass surgery and when the patient has heart attack, we give what is called as a JK regime, glucose, insulin, potassium, so that the heart recovery process is better. And then we wanted to know why this is happening. Why this insulin is, how this insulin and how these inflammatory markers are affecting the glucose function, glucose levels, and the diabetic status, and what is happening to the pancreatic beta cells. So one of my students from Portuguese, he has come to do the PhD. So what we did is everybody does insulin levels, glucose levels, and all those things. We said not. Let us look at the pancreatic beta cells, what is happening. So this is a slide, you don't have to understand this slide, but the color shows the amount of inflammatory markers in the pancreatic beta cells, which secrete insulin. So when you are sedentary and if you don't do any exercise, a lot of inflammatory molecules will accumulate in your pancreas. But if you do exercise, all these inflammatory markers are removed from the pancreatic beta cells. And so insulin production is better and your inflammatory process is much less. So this we have shown in animal study, whereby doing what is called as histochemistry and so on and so forth, we have shown that the more exercise you do, it is helpful for you because your pancreatic beta cells will work better because they don't have any inflammatory markers accumulating in the pancreatic beta cells. So that is why the exercise is beneficial. So in summary, what we have described is that glucose is an inflammatory molecule. That means every time you are eating food, you are producing inflammation in your body. But at the same time, insulin is produced so that it can suppress this inflammation. But if you continue to eat or you continue to eat more, then inflammation continues to occur and that ultimately produces various diseases. That's how you develop diabetes, obesity, myocardial infarction, and so on and so forth. So in other words, food is inflammatory. That is, food produces inflammation. You don't have to have any disease from outside or anything. The very eating your breakfast, lunch itself is inflammation. But you try to make it in a regulated fashion and try to control it. That is the reason why you have to eat less food so that less inflammation is produced. Then of course we have found that this glucose, whatever food you take, it increases the inflammatory molecules and so on and so forth. And exercise is anti-inflammatory. The more you exercise you do, the less inflammation in your body and you look healthy. Then at the same time, we wanted to know how our cells recognize that we have taken food and it's producing inflammation and what changes occur in the DNA and so on and so forth. A little bit of molecular biology. There's a very old laboratory test we used to do back in 1980s when I was just completed my MBBS and joined Department of Genetics in Usman Institute to do research because I was never introduced to become a physician, but I was forced to become a physician. That is a different issue. And so we used to do a test, what is called as a micronucleus test. So if you look at this slide, there's a big blue thing that is a nucleus. And next to that slide, the arrow shows a small, another blue dot. That is called as a micronucleus. So whenever there is a damage to DNA, this accumulates in the cell, in the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm means this area of the cell that is beyond the nucleus. It accumulates that. And now we found that in every disease, whether it is typhoid, malaria, COVID, diabetes or hypertension, any disease, if you carefully take out the blood and then stain it and look for these cells, they are found. And the number of micronucleated cells in the circulation will reflect the amount of inflammation. If you have COVID, severe COVID, then the number of cells will be more. If it is less severe, the number of micronucleated cells will be less. And this is very paradoxical. And remember that because there are some industry people here, when you want to develop a drug and when you are supposed to do preclinical toxicology studies, one of the tests that the FDA asks you to do is this micronucleus test. This is mandatory. Without that test, they will never approve your drug. Because they know that whenever there is any damage done by any drug or anything, the micronucleated cells will accumulate in the body. So this test I used to do back in 1980 as a, for some investigations and so. So these micronucleated cells are extremely important. And so whenever there is damage or whenever there is any infection, then this is very interesting. Whenever you get any infection, virus, bacteria, fungal, whatever it is, to produce infection to your cells, this microorganism has to enter the cell. That means it has to pierce through the membrane and enter into the cytoplasm. And when this microorganism enters into the cytoplasm, that microorganism also has a DNA. Okay, so that DNA comes into your human cell that is infected with the microorganism, and that nucleus or that DNA, the microorganism DNA is there in the cytoplasm of the cell. It is not supposed to be there because it is harmful to the body. So the cell has developed a mechanism by which it recognizes this foreign DNA in the cytoplasm. And this is a sensory mechanism that is present in the cell, and this is called as C-gas sting system. Okay, don't bother about explanation and everything. Just remember, it is a sting. Okay, sting, like we have a sting. Okay, so when this C-gas system detects this foreign DNA, then immediately the genes meant for information are triggered, and they produce various cytokines, other molecules which produce inflammation, and that is how the inflammation occurs whenever you get any infection. So that means when you are infected with bacteria, fungus, viruses, or even high glucose levels, then the C-gas sting system is activated, and that produces inflammation. That means indirectly, whatever food you are taking, whatever infection that is occurring is acting on the DNA of your healthy cells. And the healthy cells, to protect themselves, they produce these molecules and they try to remove this DNA, this extra DNA or the micronucleus that is present in the cells. And body has developed a very clever mechanism to eliminate these micronucleated cells. So we did a study. One of the powerful inflammatory inciting agent is the radiation. Okay, so if you give radiation, it is a very powerful physical way of producing inflammation. And of course, that is also used for the treatment of cancer also. Okay, so we did a study. This is a slide showing micronucleated cells. And then because my interest is in lipids and all those things, we took several lipid molecules and injected them into the animal to see what is happening. Okay, then we found that these molecules, when we inject them, they eliminate these micronucleated cells from the body. That means these lipid molecules have the property to kill the cells which contain the extra DNA of the microorganisms, and they eliminate them. And this is very interesting because whenever the microorganism is entering the cell by piercing the membrane, the enzymes that are present in the membrane are activated and they release these lipid molecules. That means the moment the microorganism is entering the cell, the cell membrane also is activated. And when cell membrane is activated, it releases certain lipid molecules. And these lipid molecules in turn act on the same cell from which it is released to kill the cell so that these micronucleated containing cells are not there. Why that they should be eliminated is, if these micronucleated cells exist for a longer time in the body, they can get converted into cancerous cells. So that means there is damage to DNA, and so they become cancers after some time. So they have to be eliminated. So that is done by these lipid molecules. So these are all the publications in that area. Then we said, if these micronucleated cells are present in so many diseases, can we do something with these lipid molecules which we found that they are eliminating these micronucleated cells? So we tried to induce the diabetes in the animal model and then injected several lipid molecules and look at it, what is happening to diabetes status. Then we found that of all the lipid molecules we investigated, some molecules can completely prevent diabetes. That means the same molecule which can eliminate the micronucleated cells in the body can also prevent development of diabetes. And we know that micronucleated cells, if they accumulate for a longer time, they develop into cancer. That means the same fundamental process occurs both in diabetes and in cancer. But the paradox here is it is able to protect the pancreatic beta cells and prevent diabetes. But when it comes to cancer cell, it will kill the cancer cell. That means the same molecule has two properties depending upon the situation. It will kill the cell. In the case of cancer, it will protect the pancreatic beta cells to prevent the diabetes. This is a very interesting topic. Then, of course, we did a lot of studies to look at the diabetes and all those things, and we found that yes, you can eliminate the diabetes by using this molecule. Then I'm not going to talk to you about the pathobiology of diabetes and all those things. So that means then we said that diabetes and cancer are two sides of the same coin. In diabetes, you are trying to protect the pancreatic beta cells so that your insulin production is continuing to occur and you don't develop diabetes. When it comes to cancer, the same molecule will work on the micronucleated cells or the infected cell and then the abnormal cell and then kills them. So let us not bother with the mechanism because we know the mechanism also, why it is able to produce the protection to the pancreatic beta cells at the same time it is able to kill the cancer cell. I'm not going to talk about it. Then of course we did some studies and then we found that this molecule we can use for eliminating cancer cells. So we did a human clinical study for brain tumors and injected this molecule and have shown that the tumor can be regressive. Okay. So that means here you have a molecule that comes from our cell membranes, and when we are infected, the membrane produces these molecules, they produce inflammation, and if these molecules are present in sufficient amounts, they are able to protect the pancreatic beta cells, so prevent developing from the diabetes. And if the cell happens to be a cancer cell, then this molecule is released, it will act on the cancer cell and eliminates it. So that's why we call it as diabetes and the cancer are two sides of the same coin. Of course, there's a lot of mechanisms involved and then there's molecular biology. I'm not going to talk about it. Okay. So then, of course, we did a lot of studies and then now let us come to the let me see. Okay, this is a slide, molecular biology slide, so I'm not going to talk to you about it. But then these molecules, these lipid molecules have the property to work to control the production of a molecule called as interferon. We all probably, many of you know that interferon is an antiviral molecule produced in the body. So whenever you get an infection with viruses, interferon should be produced. So whenever you are infected with SARS virus, you should produce sufficient amounts of interferon to kill the virus so that you don't develop severe COVID or severe SARS-CoV-2 infection. But then this interferon molecule also again works on the cell membrane and then releases the lipid molecules so that these lipid molecules can in turn inactivate the virus. So these lipid molecules, they protect the pancreatic beta cells, they kill the tumor cells, and they also inactivate the viruses. And so now subsequently we found that if we have enough amounts of these molecules in the body, they eliminate the SARS virus and you don't develop COVID. Or if you develop COVID, if you take these molecules, you recover from it very better. Then, of course, we did several other studies. And what we found is that there is some sort of a celestial dance occurring in the cells. Okay, when I was talking to my wife and shown her these slides, when we estimated several molecules going up, down, and so at the same time we measured 5 or 6 molecules to see what is happening. So some molecules go up, some molecules go down, and then there will be like a dance, which is a very dynamic process. Every half an hour, every 1 hour, this dance of these molecules varies. Then I told my wife, this is like the celestial dance of Shiva. These molecules go up and down, and then they regulate the various processes. So we call it as a celestial dance of molecules to protect our cells from various diseases, and perhaps the celestial dance of Shiva that was described in the Vedas and others is probably an understanding of this. I don't know. So that's what we found, that the celestial dance occurs. And what is most important is in every disease process, whichever disease process you take, this celestial dance of molecules is same, is similar. Whether it is cancer, whether it is diabetes, whether it is myocardial infarction or whether it is very, very severe inflammation like COVID. So, or when I are exposed to radiation. So I'm not going to, just to slow, one slide. This is how the molecules, they vary up and down and so on and so forth. Then, of course, we said this molecules has actions on several other tissues as well. And this is how the molecules we measured, several molecules, and they go up and down. And it is very, that is why when you measure these molecules only at one time point, you miss the goal. You have to measure it continuously at different time intervals to see how they go up, go down, and they go up and go down, and so on and so forth. So this is the celestial dance of molecules is extremely important. This occurs in several diseases. Same type of movement of the molecules occurs. Then we did in several types of studies. Then we found that. Then we were interested in COVID also. Then we found that this molecule, this lipid molecule, is deficient in those patients who develop severe COVID. And if those molecules are produced in sufficient amounts, if the body has sufficient stores of these lipid molecules, then the virus is inactivated and they recover very fast. So of course, then we have put all the things together and then said that this is how we react to infection or to injury or to inflammation, and the process goes to nucleus. From nucleus it comes back, and so on and so forth. And this is what that happens in COVID infection. So whenever you get the infection with COVID, the virus enters the cell and then it forms a micronucleated cell. Then it activates the C-gas cysteine system, and that leads to the release of these molecules. And if these lipid molecules are released in sufficient amounts, they are able to inactivate the virus, and so your cell recovers. But sometimes what happens, the micronucleated cells are many. There are so many that the body tries to eliminate all those cells. And in the process, there will be a lot of damage to the tissues, because if several cells are, micronucleated cells are several are there, and if they're all eliminated, then naturally there will be damage. So that's what happens in severe SARS infection. So there is damage to the endothelial cells of the blood vessels, pulmonary cells, pulmonary epithelial cells, and in the heart and in the brain, and so on and so forth, depending upon where it is occurring. So that is what happens in COVID. Then of course, I should thank all my collaborators, because without whose help I could not have done all this work. This is a Hungarian group with whom we used to work, and this is a combination of about 30 or so people. And you'll be wondering that of them, at least 6 are physics people, and there are at least 3 or 4 are mathematicians. So we work with all of them together and then try to get ideas from different fields and see how best. This is a group with whom I work in China. They are very nice students, except that we have difficulty in communicating with them with English, but they learn and then come back. So with whom we did a lot of our work on insulin and inflammation and so on and so forth. Then there's a group from Argentina, where we did a lot of work again on diabetes and other conditions. And this is my small group working with me in India, and they all have completed their PhDs, and some of them are not here, are in US and elsewhere. And they did wonderful work with radiation and cancer and so on and so forth. Thank you very much.
Very much. It was wonderful.
Sir, thank you, sir, for your valuable information and presentation. Now I invite Mr. Shiv Kumar Rungta, Co-Chair of Healthcare Committee, FTCCI, to introduce Dr. Vyakaran Nageshwar, sir. Today's our speaker.
Thank you, friends. I have my privilege to introduce Dr. Nageshwar. Dr. Nageshwar did his medical graduation from Pondicherry University and completed his master's in pulmonary medicines from Mamata Medical College, Khammam. And post his MD, he was trained by some of the best teachers of India in the field of advanced and specialized subjects like sleep medicines and interventional pulmonology at National Institute of Chest Disease, Delhi. He did his fellowship in thoracoscopic procedures under Dr. Amir Khoja at Ruby Hall Clinic, Pune. And he completed his international course on allergy, asthma, and immunology at the country's prestigious medical institution, CMC Vellore. He has treated thousands and thousands of patients. I can't even count them. I think there are more than 50,000 patients for allergy, immunology, and allergy testing procedures, advanced allergen-specific sublingual immunotherapies, and interventional pulmonary procedures. All these volumes speaks single-handedly performed by Dr. Nageshwar of his clinical experience. He has widely experienced consultants, allergy specialists practicing in Ashwin Allergy Center, Hyderabad, and he is active on a project called Allergy Free India with the aim of eradicating various allergy-prone diseases in India. He has conducted several seminars under AANI, that is Allergy Asthma Network India, around the world. He regularly conducts various events, and we are thankful for him to come here on our request. Dr. Nageshwar. Can I have that? Yeah.
या देवी सर्वभूतेषु वाग्रूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै 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 नमो नमः. A very good evening to everybody. I'm sure a lot of people might have gained some kind of a clues or an information from Dr. Das' lecture or a talk. But let me be very honest. If God is very happy, in a very good mood, he delivers people like Dr. Das to this world. I'm telling you, I'm a doctor, I'm an immunologist. You need to have the complete knowledge of what is there in medicine, what is not there in medicine to talk about medicine. Not knowing about medicine, what is not there also. Such an extensive talk, sir. Appreciate. I envy, I'm not a student of you, if at all. An opportunity, you can wash our ignorance out in your, blessings, right? The topic of today, what I would be talking is something about allergy, asthma, and sleep disorders. Now, why I need to choose this topic is, when we had COVID, the whole world suffered. We used to attend around 200 to 300 calls personally on phone. At a point of time, we literally, after all, at the end of the day, doctor is also a human being. See, हमको भी call लेके भूल जाते कि भाई which patient I spoke and what is the investigation I reported. It's a huge, heavy thing. One question which came from many people, Doctor, why did my beloved person die of COVID? This was a very common question post-COVID also. Even today, when we sit in our chambers, we come and we face patients coming to us and asking, why is that my beloved person died? Now, there's so many people who are fat. There's so many people who are smart. There's so many people who are alcoholic. There's so many people who smoke. There's so many people with all vices. Then they are all safe, happy. Then why my uncle at the end of the day? Probably God will be the correct person to answer. But as long as we stand as a person of science on this floor, one connecting thing, as an immunologist, as an allergist, I found was immunity and the immunology of a person. Probably one such subject which was not taught in the medical schools. I don't know about the United States and European medical colleges. As long as I'm in India, I'm talking about the environment of Indian medical college curriculums. The topic which was less spoken, the topic which was less taught, has become the order of the day. That's why every word Dr. Das was telling, I was rejoicing because it was very, very, very true to the core, and you will not get it in the textbooks. That's what I said. If God is happy, you will have Dr. Das here. Such a wonderful thing. So when I thought that I should talk about something about immunology, probably I would have also presented such kind of slides which are purely scientifical. For medical students like us in medical colleges, sometimes we ask our professors to repeat it 2 or 3 times in 1 hour lecture just to understand what my professor is talking. I can understand that. But I thought I should put it in a very simple way in this 30 minutes or 20 minutes talk, so that you go back home and your perspective of understanding your health should benefit you. That's the purpose I am here to deliver. When I talk about allergy, asthma, and sleep medicine or sleep disorders, for your kind information, there are around 30% of Indian population who suffers from allergic disorders in this country. There are around 30 to 40% of Indian citizens who suffer from sleep disorders. Now, what else can be such a huge chunk, huge piece, huge volumes that we should concentrate upon? So being a person from the line of allergy and immunology, I thought I should share with you. So whenever a person, I'm equally happy to see a few of my patients here who are there, who have come to me with the same questions. But still, I'm not God at the end of the day. I'm a person of science. So what science has taught me, I will work on it, I will think on it and go ahead. So when we talk about allergy, the first question everyone gets is, the moment I talk about allergy, they start itching. The moment I talk about allergy, probably I would have given more than around say 600, 700 talks, very honestly, online, offline, underground, above ground, upar, niche, sab mila ke bhi. Everywhere when I said allergy, the first thing is they scratch. They are right. They're absolutely correct. But that's not the area alone. Allergy plays importance of understanding. So I thought, let me start from little basics so that, I said, when you go out from this room, tomorrow morning, when you look at your human body yourself and say, boss, there is allergy, it's not just a rash here. Wo banda aaya tha, doctor aaya tha, he just, now I may understand, correlate things of what that person has told me in my daily walk of life, right? So I start with what is allergy, what is atopy, what causes allergy, why only some of us are allergic, what are the diseases caused by allergies, how do you diagnose allergy, how do you treat allergy, and how do you prevent allergy. And this is not alone. I'm not going to give a lecture of each and everything but 20 minutes. Just touch base and keep moving on. What is important, we are going to eat that, right? Next, please. So allergy is an acquired potential of developing adverse reactions that are immunologically mediated to substances that are harmless to most of us. This is simple thing to understand. I'll put it in a very simple language. Why is that out of 4 members of the family, why alone me, doctor, I am suffering with allergy? That's again a question when somebody comes to me and say, मेरे घर में 4 लोग हैं, मेरे को क्यों आया allergy? ऐसा क्यों होता है मेरे साथ? That's a common question. And he's right in asking that. The reason is, it's not a disease. It's a disorder of the immune system. When you talk about a variation of the immune system, what does it mean? It means that your cells are hyperreacting. What cells are hyperreacting? Your immune cells are hyperreacting. Why is my immune cells hyperreacting? There are 2 major factors. Number 1, as Dr. Das has beautifully said, in the mother's womb, it's already programmed. आके यहाँ पे नाचने का कुछ भी नहीं है, म्यूजिक लगा हुआ है, बाहर आके जो करना है वही म्यूजिक को डांस करके चले जाओ बस. It's absolutely in a medical language, it's the immunological language, it is tuned, it is genetic. How it is genetic? If one of the parent is allergic, the possibility of the children born to them being allergic is 50%. If both of the parents children's allergic, the possibility of their children getting allergy is 70%. Look at that. Look at the data, how we get this. And once you get that genetic makeup to get allergies, what is the second most important factor? You can have a genetic makeup, but you need not present a disease. Understand this sentence. If you take me into a laboratory and take my blood samples 100 times and test genetic disorders, 2000 genetic disorders will be there in my body, but they will not present a disease. Why? They will wait for the opportunity to present it, to develop it into a disease. Now, who does that? We do it. Absolutely right. We do it. How do we do it? Lot of people, whenever I say, whenever I write a prescription of allergy, I said, I tell my patients, my medicines will not work. वो मुझे ऐसे देखता है, इतना देर बैठ के तू बात किया, इतना करके तू क्या बोल रहा है? My medicines will not work. Yes, my medicines will not work. Why? The medicines are going to give you a temporary relief. What is going to give you more sustainable thing is your lifestyle. The way you handle your body. And very, very important point, with the courage given by Dr. Das, I move one step ahead. I tell all my patients, the more you meditate, I'm not going to tell you stop your business and go into some sadhu, saffron dress. The more you meditate, the more your brain is tamed. The more the brain is tamed, the brain is controlled. Your aberrations of hormones, enzymes, they just cool down, they just calm down. And such a kind of things exactly works wonderfully on your immunological cells. How to control is not just by medical thing. It is by controlling your mind. Is there a link, doctor? A lot of people question me. Is there a link between your mind, your thought, your emotions, your anxiety and the allergy? I say yes. There's an entity in science called as battered woman syndrome. It reads as those women who suffered physical, psychological stress and trauma react more to immunological disorders, specifically asthmatic attacks. And this is a fact of science. So allergy is not something which enters the body and creates a damage. It's already there from the mother's womb. You got it. You have to see that it doesn't trouble you in your life. And you can do it. Can I do it? 100% you can do it. Right? Next. Now, what is antigen? Antigen is a substance that causes allergy. Now, I used to have a lot of doubt. How many allergens are there in human beings? I mean, how many allergens are there that humans react? I was searching everywhere. One fine article, around 440 plus or minus 10. That means there are 440 items in a general usable language that your body can react. Can you name something, doctor? Your water bottle, your shoes, your rubber, your belt, your comb, your hairdresses, your water, your washer, your belt, your ring, everything. Then what is the information that we are getting now? The information is clear and simple. Your body looks through all these antigens as 24/7 immunologically mediated camera system. The moment I entered this hall, suppose this hall is not acceptable to me immunologically, what do? I sit on the dais, I say scratching like this. Who is telling me to do that? My immune system is already built in. It is already read everything, and the cameras are all 24 hours. Like you go, a VVIP goes down. He's surrounded by the security guards. That the whole mob moves like that. The immune system moves with you. You enter into a hotel. You enter into the cinema hall. You start scratching. Hero gali deta hai, you start scratching. What is happening here? No, I'm somewhere. I'm not feeling comfortable here. Who is telling you all that? Your immune system. How is that it is acting? You have not told anything. You have not sent any letter, email or anything. How? I told you, you are already printed in the mother's womb and you are just following the footprints of it. The time has come that you got to the correct antigens, you got exposed. Now, what we do is basically to make people understand what is allergy and how to control it. Right? Next, antigen can be anything. Antibody is a substance. right? Antibody is a substance that causes allergic reaction. You need to be sensitized to become allergic. This is very important. As I told you, I entered the hall here, I'm sitting, I start scratching. Why? There's something in this hall where my immune system has already got exposed. Bhai, this is not acceptable to you. It has already told me. So the moment I come here, my immune system presses the button. The buzzer comes. How? Lift your hand behind the neck. Come on, scratch. Who is telling all this? Why is this alert coming to me? It is because the immune system is 24/7 alert, right? Next, please. Yeah, I will be more comfortable. Next, please. This is very, yeah. So when we talk about allergy, now the point is clear. Allergy is not an itch. Allergy is not a rash. Allergy is not a sneeze. Allergy is not a wheeze. Allergy is not just any other single entity of a disease. It is a disorder. It is a deviation or a hypersensitivity of the immune cells. Point clear. Next. Now, where does it affect? It can affect any part of the body. I commonly tell my patients, डॉक्टर साहब यहाँ पे होता है खुजली, डॉक्टर साहब यहाँ पे होता है, बहुत जगह पे होता है. मैं बोला क्या ये पार्ट दूसरे बाजू वाले घर को दे दिए क्या? ये तो तुम्हारा ही भाग है. This is a part of your body. So wherever the blood flows, the immune cells, they go, they do their job. They are doing the right job. Somebody, I mean, immune suppressants, somebody were talking about it today morning. A small kid was given immune suppressants. I felt very bad. You're not supposed to do that, because if you start giving immune suppressions, I'm not talking about the rarest of the rare cases. In general, Dr. Das would be definitely accepting the same thing. You are not supposed to suppress the immune system, because the immune system is like your high level intelligence of the country. You may like it or you may not like it. It has to work, because if it works, we will have a good day or a good night's sleep. If it doesn't work, you are equal to a HIV positive patient. Please understand that. So whenever there is an allergic changes, it can occur in any part of the body. Understand that. That's as simple as it. Now, when it enters into the lungs, your bronchial airways, सांस लेने की जो नाली बोलते, they try to close. What is the first symptom everyone gets? Not breathlessness. That's the biggest mistake everyone does. मेरे को सांस इतना ज़्यादा नहीं फूलता, बहुत थोड़ा बहुत खांसी आता है, डॉक्टर साहब. That's it, nothing more. And that is the first sign that there's allergic changes in the bronchial airways. And any good physician will pick you up right at that level by your history, by your atopic history, by your family history, that could be, are you exposed to an allergen which has already enters your lung spaces. Now we go for a pulmonary function test and try to find out, yeah, is there a condition of an asthma in your lungs or not? We'll decide about it. Suppose it enters into your eyes, you don't get breathlessness. You get itching of the eyes, redness of the eyes, and watering of the eyes. We call that allergic conjunctivitis. Suppose it enters into your nostrils, you don't get breathlessness. You get sneezes. Doctor, the moment I come to my chamber, I sneeze 100 times. The moment I get from the bed, oh my God, the day is gone. Why? Because there's something in the bed. There's something in the place of your house where you feel that you're getting exposed. No, sir, every day I use 1 liter of phenyl, mopping everything. No, I put, you know, I hear a lot of people telling this. There's a central air conditions above, there's a granite below, or a carpet below, or a beautiful curtains. Right? How is it you can tell that my house is not clean? For your information, I'm talking about microbiological levels. Antigens are something which cannot be seen like your pet dog. The moment you call it, it comes with a wagging tail. No, it's not like that. Even if there are thousands and thousands of antigens in my bed, I just can't see them. I have to look through the microscope. And that's the reason when you sleep, you are happy. The moment you get up, you may get a wheeze at morning 3 o'clock, you may get a rash, you may get a sneeze. And all these are the parts of allergic manifestations. Right? Next, please. This is something very important. A lot of people think that allergies come only in the younger age and they don't come to the adults. You can have two types of presentation. Either you can get the allergies presented at the childhood, where we call it childhood presentation, or you can show allergies at the age of 30, 40, 50s also. You can be perfectly normal till that time. Suddenly you show a reaction. बोलते हैं डॉक्टर साहब बचपन में कुछ नहीं था डॉक्टर साहब जबरदस्त था अब मेरे को ऐसा क्यों हो गया? बचपन में भी आप ही हैं, बड़े होने के बाद भी आप ही हैं। क्या खून बदल गया क्या? नहीं ना, वही तो खून है, वही तो सिस्टम है, जेनेटिक कोड वही है. So you don't need a permission for your immunological cells to react. What all it takes for the immunological cells to throw allergy is change of an environment, challenge or to the immune system of the body. That's it. Now this slide is very important because any child at the younger age, if he presents with any kind of a symptom, please do not neglect it. Why? When a child presents with any one manifestation of an allergy, that's the flag that you should understand that you should treat it perfectly, not just by medication. Why? This slide shows. If suppose you neglect a child, don't treat the allergies. You say, my child at 5 years age had a rash. I went to the dermatologist. He said some ointments to be put. I put it and he's okay. When he becomes at 8 years, he sneezes a lot. I went to the ENT surgeon. He said there is a necessity that I should use a nasal spray. And I used it. The boy is fine. When he was around 15 years, 20 years, he got a respiratory difficulty. I took him to the pulmonologist. He said he's an asthma. And when he is now almost at the age of 30, 40 years, doctor, I don't know what has happened. He develops severe itching of the eyes with rashes. All that what he suffered in the younger age is not allergy. Now what he's suffering could be allergy or need not be. Could you please tell me, doctor, why he got it? You missed the child at the age when he first presented the symptom. And that in medicine is called allergic atopic march. We are taught from day one in immunological classes that in childhood, if suppose there is any symptom, do not neglect it. Do not just suppress it with a symptomatic treatment. Next, please. Yeah, this is how the allergic march picture looks like. I think I have explained to you. Next, please. Yeah, this probably in the field of allergy and immunology, I'm not so blessed as the immunologist of US or Europe, because immunology is a subject which is just coming up in India. So every bit of my knowledge, every bit I come across, I would love to share with everyone, because every single sentence spoken from senior doctors will help thousands of people to come out of the suffering. This is one such thing that this kid came from London, and we tested everything possible in 4 or 5 sittings for an allergy screening we did for the kid. We couldn't locate anything, and we suspected from the history. For your kind information, allergic history taking is almost around 40 to 50 minutes per patient. So the traditional way of seeing patients, 200, 300 patients in a day, is a dream for me. I can't do that, because in a whole day, max we can do as an immunologist is hardly 10 to 15 patients, because we need to go into the history of 3 generations, how the genetic makeup is. And this kid had a beautiful history, genetic history, atopic history, that he had allergies and he was born to the allergic parents. And now we notice that this kid developed chocolate allergy. Next, please. So immediately we thought we should share it to the people. See, I strongly believe that medicine is not just the domain of doctors, it is about the people's knowledge for their health. So being as a medical journalist as well, so I immediately take it into the thing, so that on a public domain, we should try to discuss so that people will safeguard them. So they need not come into my chamber always, but they can always be alerted. Right, next, please. Next, please. Yeah, this is a simple allergy, modified allergen skin prick test. We do it. Probably the youngest kid I have started doing this is around 7 months age. In US and European countries, they do it absolutely at that age. But in India, we tried to do that at around 2 years of age. But there was a kid from Kenya. They had a lot of hope. They came to my center in Hyderabad. So I did not want to refuse them. So I had to speak to my professor, Dr. P.K. Vedantan in Colorado University, immunologist. And I asked him, I took my permission. Guru permission is always required, right? So I asked my guru, sir, this is the case. What should I do? Will you ask me to go ahead with it, or should I refuse? He said, do it with all precautions, because sometimes anaphylactic shock can arise. And by God's blessings, we have done around, say, 22,000 patients or something like that, and we have done around 10,000 plus allergy screenings. Not one patient literally landed up into any kind of anaphylaxis, because we are always on the toes whenever we touch the patient, because allergy looks simple, but it's equally deadly on the opposite side, right? So this is a simple allergy testing. So that's how we do it. And after 15 to 20 minutes, you see a reaction on the hand, and we measure the reaction based on the type of the reaction. We compare it with the saline and the histamine, and we decide what is the allergy you are suffering with. Next, please. This is a pictorial thing. How do we do it? Next, please. Yeah, this is a London kid. We did it on the back. Next, please. This is how it looked. Look at the reactions the baby has shown. Highly positive, highly positive. Right, next, please. Yeah, this is the thing whether we gave the note. Here, I just wanted to bring it to your information that we look into the high histamine levels. A lot of people don't understand what is histamine. It is histamine. If God was merciful and he had not released histamine in human body, probably there would have been no allergies. That's the reason whenever you have an allergy, you go to the medical shop and ask for antihistamine. So the histamine levels are very high. In this kid, saline was around 3 or 4 and its histamine was 30. It's almost very high. So we decided that we put him on antihistamines diet. What is antihistamine diet? As I said, as an immunologist, I look less towards the medication and more towards the lifestyle. What is high histamine diet? You eat more of chocolates, you eat more of cakes, you eat more of non-vegetarians for a particular period of a time. Masales, garam masale, all these things add high histamine in your body, and that is to be immediately stopped for a certain period of time. Next, please. Look at the serum Ig levels of this kid, 2,500, more than that. Normal is around 100. So it's almost very, very high. Next, please. Yeah, so we started looking at this condition. We started, it's, it's like a life of pi. We are dropped into the ocean. You have to survive anyway with the tiger. So I take all that energy levels to see that every bit of a patient, every bit of a citizen around us, we try to educate them. So we started this new initiative as Food Allergy Detective Campaign. So this, I got it from my professor who was guiding us just to make people understand. By the way, for the information of the august audience, food contributes only to the 25% of the allergies actually they really get. A lot of people think that the food is the major. No, food is only 25%. The majority is non-food items, environmental allergens. That is something we should never miss, right? Next, please. Right. This is what I said was the 7-year-old kid, 7 months old kid we performed. That could be probably one of the rarest of the rare cases performed in the country, right? Next, please. Yeah, this is something very interesting. Why I'm presenting case by case is if I talk immunology, it is going to be huge and it's going to be really burden for you. So case by case is something very interesting that you can take home. So this is a couple came to me and they were planning for children and a lot of tests they had undergone. They had gone to the gynecologist and ultimately they were not successful for 6-7 years. Somebody from US told that looking into their history, they said, please go to an immunologist in India and talk to them. So they came to me. I was really surprised because I asked them, why did you come to me? I'm not a infertility specialist or a gynecologist. Then they started opening up that they had problem and we investigated it. And this is the semen allergy that the women suffered and they literally suffered in the bed. And when such a things happen, definitely the conception rates go down and they land up into different difficulties, right? This, we guided them to a good infertility specialist for a simple IVF procedure so that, they get into the right track and God bless them to have children, right? Next, please. So this, we doing such kind of allergic procedures, we are now training young doctors. We have been going around the country and other places to see that more and more people come into allergy and immunology. More and more, 30% of India's population, look at that number. Probably I'll always say so many doctors are there, so many patients are there, and the number of doctors who are actually practicing allergy, core allergy and immunology in India are hardly 100. And the number of allergy patients in 2 Telugu speaking states is 2.5 crores. And the number of doctors practicing core allergy and immunology is hardly 2 or 3. So we require more hands, more than requiring hands, we require more hard work to go to the people and help them to come out of the disease. Next, please. So we are thankful to our Honorable Chief Minister for giving a permission to launch the national toll-free number. We are the people who have a national toll-free number. You know, any part of the, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, just give a call, they drop up a message, or we get them back and say, boss, what is your problem? And we guide them to the nearest qualified allergist and immunologist so that they don't land up into dangerous, deadly anaphylactic condition. Next, please. Yeah, when I speak about anaphylaxis, a lot of people should be carry home message is very important. Allergies are not simple. Yes, they are simple, but sometimes if you neglect, they become the killer disease. Anaphylaxis is a condition, a life-threatening condition where out of 100 people who suffered with anaphylaxis, 17 to 20%, they don't return back. So that's a dangerous, deadly condition in immunology. Next, please. So what is the treatment, doctor? What do you give for children or adults? This is the sublingual immunotherapy. In US, they used to call shots. Now, the order of the day is giving sublingual, everything has come sublingual now. The polio drops, even the corona vaccine has come sublingual. Even allergy, we have the sublingual immunotherapy, which works wonderfully. We do, by God's blessings, we almost treated around 5,000 to 6,000 patients on allergic immunotherapy. Next, please. Yeah, this is a simple pic taken. Right, next, please. Yeah, what do? You have been told so much talking about allergy. What is that you can really do, doctor? Number one, again, I said, it's not the doctor who can help you in allergic diseases. Number one, avoidance of such food which are positive in your allergy test. Next, please. Yeah, see, this is something very important. I would like to take a fraction of a minute, taking your attention into a very important area. Out of the 440 allergens, only 4 allergens are called the major allergens. What do you call these major allergens? If any one of them are positive in an allergy testing to one of or 4 of these major allergens, their allergies will increase multifold. If anyone are positive to one or more of such major allergens, there is a treatment failure always. If anyone is positive to 1 or 4 major allergens, the possibility of them landing up into polysensitization and polyorgan involvement. That means they say, doctor, 20 years back, I just had an itch. I took the medication, it subsided. But now, doctor, I had sneezes, I had asthma. Oh my God, I had sinusitis, I did a surgery, but I don't know why I'm not recovering, doctor. The culprit could be the 4 major allergens. And what are there? The house dust mite, the parthenium, the alternaria, and the cockroach. You heard it right, the cockroach in the house. You never thought that the cockroach was so deadly. Yes, it is. Right? Next, please. These are the simple presentations of how food allergies. Food allergies need not always present as an itch of skin or an itch of any part of the body. It can present as a sneeze. It can present at the pain abdomen. It can present at, any kind of an asthmatic attack or anything. Right? Next, please. Yeah, this is something which, again, I took advantage of being as a medical journalist, put it immediately into we formulated a 25-year-old study, again, latest study being conducted on 1,000 patients who visited our center and saw what are the major allergens that people are suffering in this region. We are likely to release that, publish it. Surprisingly, for your information, mosquitoes are dominating. The mosquito allergies are dominating, and mind you, the children are literally suffering with mosquito allergies. You never realize that mosquitoes can develop such a horrible reaction. Even I was like that when I gone into the literature and saw, oh my God, Skeeter syndrome, they call it. So we are now looking into very, very new allergens coming up, which were really not there previously, 10 years, 20 years back. Mosquito allergy almost in the top 3, top 5 level, right? Next, please. Now, this is a beautiful magnified picture of the house dust mite. Now, how does this affect a human being? It doesn't come and bite you, nothing to worry. But what it does, it eats your dead cells of the skin when you drop off. Every human drops the dead skin. So when you lie down on the bed, some kind of a scales of the skin drop. It eats that and it tries to trigger an allergic reaction. So it is found in your bed sheets, pillow covers, mattresses, very cushioned, high, good sofas, and you give a number of medicines. He will recover and get back into the same suffering. The reason is house dust mite. Unless and until you remove that, doctor, I have seen everywhere there's no house dust mite. Honestly, even I can't see that. I already told you, it's a highly magnified picture of a house dust mite, which is almost in the top of the order of the major allergens suffering making the humans suffer. Next, please. House dust mite, that's what I said, most common allergens. Next, please. Yeah, they prefer the warm and the moist conditions. Next, please. They live on dead skin scales. Next, please. Yeah, all these things. Next, please. Next. Yeah, next. This is just for the completion sake. I'm putting next, please. Yeah, that's what I was telling you. Anything. So we thought the carpets are good, the curtains, the sofas, the covers, the soft toys, all these things, the house dust mite grows there. That's the reason we say the allergen is with you in the bed. That's what we say. You are literally sleeping, not alone, but with the allergen inside your bed. So you have to be very watchful. That's the reason it takes a lot of time as an immunologist and allergist to, get that history. When did it start? What time did it start? And how do we go? Next, please. The fungi and molds. This is something very important. I told you Alternaria is a fungi. This is something very important. And nowadays, with increase of central air conditioned halls, fungal molds coming up, or in old buildings where there's a crack of an old building, there's a water oozing around, you get that smell, stinking smell inside the bedroom or the room where there's a wall getting that change of a color. Now it slowly keeps emitting fungus in that room. That's something very serious. Next, please. Suppose you take that fungus inside your body, you get the fungus embedded in your lungs. Suppose it comes onto your contact with the skin, you get a rash. The fungus enters into the eye area, you get itching of the eyes. That's how it goes. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah, mosquitoes. This is something very important. We will come up with how to deal with it in a later talk. If at all there is an opportunity, we'll definitely discuss. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah, then I'll take it, right? Yeah, one piece of an information about pollens. For God's sake, if you are an allergy patient, do not go out on a cyclone affected day or a day with this heavy gale or a rain, because for your information, the pollens are so light, they travel around 200 miles from the source of exit. That means from the trees, they can travel 200 miles. Suppose there's a cyclonic effect in Warangal, the whole millions of pollens will just get up into the air, travel with the clouds. They can go and shower anywhere. Now you come out on that breezy day, you feel it's so cloudy here. Come on, let's go for a bike ride. You keep riding the bike and they keep running you after you. And ultimately you get exposed on your skin. The moment you reach home, you get a rash. I don't know why it's so pleasant outside. Why I'm getting a rash? The reason is heavy pollens. In US, we call it pollen tsunami. That's the word that they use it there, right? Yeah, that's what I was telling. Yeah, coming to the last part of the obstructive sleep apnea. As Dr. Das has very correctly said that everything is the same, the names are the different, the departments are different. I was amazed looking at the Institute of Biology Inspired Engineering. Probably I should look into it and I will see if God blesses, we should get into that. That's a very interesting thing, because allergies, asthma and sleep medicine or the sleep disorders carry the same type of cells which damage your tissues. To cut the story short, obstructive sleep apnea is a deadly condition where literally your breathing stops at the throat. I will not take a medical language, a pharynx or anything. It literally gets obstructed in your throat and your lungs suffer with hypoxia, your brain suffer from hypoxia, and ultimately your heart is made to work with no reason because it's innocent. Heart is a simple, sincere organ. The brain sends the signals to the heart telling that, boss, you're not working properly. I want more blood with oxygen. You beat 100 times, you beat 200 times, and it keeps beating. At the end of the day, person with snoring, person with obstructive sleep apnea, they land up into sudden cardiac death syndrome. All those people who died at the timing of night 1 o'clock to morning 6 o'clock, 60% of them suffered with obstructive sleep apnea and the very condition of sudden cardiac death syndrome. The patients who suffered with stroke, cerebral stroke, paralysis, what you call it in general language, 50% of them suffered with obstructive sleep apnea. This is the situation where we are and we don't know. We go to bed God was so merciful that he wakes up normally and we are able to come to our work, right? Now, who gets sleep apnea? These are all the literature. I would not go into the symptoms of often the first signs of obstructive sleep apnea are recognized not by the patient but the bed partner. Many of those affected have no sleep complaints. This is simply important because almost many times when I ask, do you snore? No, I don't snore. I sleep comfortably silent. The wife said, oh my God, he snores a lot. Doctor, I will show you from my mobile. This is a common thing. And we ask the partners, does your husband snore? He said, yeah, I have a recording of it. Does your son snore? Oh my God, horribly bad. And that was a very good video evidence that yes, snoring is not always dangerous, but it could prove dangerous in certain individuals, causing obstructive sleep apnea. In who it is dangerous and why it is dangerous need to be investigated. And a simple investigation, the polysomnography makes you clear that are you into the danger zone? Is your heart affected? Is your brain affected? And you can just start the treatment at that place, right? These are the, I'm coming to the simple thing, so that you have been talking about allergy, asthma, and obstructive sleep apnea. Can you tell me 1, 2, 3, 4 points? How do you in the house diagnose that I am having with obstructive sleep apnea or not? If somebody asks, number 1, the moment you get up from the bed, you have a dry mouth. The moment you get up from the bed, you try to drink water more. You try to go into your routine, your calf muscles pain. You come to the office, you try to concentrate, the focus is lost. You get irritated. You are left in your chamber, secretary doesn't disturb you. You're just lying down with a good air conditioner in your chamber. You doze off. Sir, may I? Oh, I slept off. I really don't know. I'm sorry. I look tired. You come back home and tell your wife, I am not understanding why I'm sleeping in daytime. And for your information, this is a very important piece of information. People with obstructive sleep apnea should not be in risky professions. The profession is not risky. He becomes risky to the profession. What is that? Suppose you are a pilot driving, lifting your craft almost at the height of 33,000 feet from the ground level. You get that sleep. What would happen? That's deadly. Suppose you are a pilot train engine driver. You get sleep in the long run, 1 hour, no one disturbs you. That's deadly. Suppose you are working with some technical tools, machineries, a lot of industry people are involved. They are managing with the cutting things, chopping things, their fingers get cut. We do a lot of patients we see like that. We don't diagnose, we don't go into the probe of it. Why this is happening to us? The simple thing is that you need to investigate for sleep apneas. Even children, for your kind information, children also suffer from obstructive sleep apneas, which is very surprising for Indians because in US, they are very well aware of it and they are doing a pretty good job. Melatonin and immune function, good sleep causes good release of melatonin. This causes good immune system response to the function and good growth hormone levels. This promotes healing. Melatonin, good melatonin levels is equals to good healing. Melatonin is released in the night time. If you don't have sleep in the night, you feel that you are working extraordinarily well. You are literally making your melatonin in trouble. That means the levels are disturbed. That means your healing and your immunity is getting disturbed. Put it in such a simple language, right? The unified airways, 80% of the children of asthma have allergic rhinitis and 40% of the children of allergic rhinitis have asthma. Allergic rhinitis causes almost 88% of the sleep problems to the patients, and this can be due to the difficulty to sleep or multiple night awakenings. There's a Belgium study which clearly states that children with asthma suffer with obstructive sleep apnea 2 times higher. Note that point. 2 times higher rates. That is the way how the children are also affected. Allergies and sleep disturbance. Yeah, this is very, very important. It is underlined that children who snore have 30 to 40% of allergic sensitivity. You know, the microaerosols, the sleep disturbance are 10 times higher in the children suffering with allergic rhinitis. Now, everyone are aware, probably majority are aware that there's always one word which comes in our corona phase: cytokine storm, cytokine storm, cytokine storm. Everyone look into that IL-6 levels, ferritin levels, and all that, right? We did all of them. At least one in the family did that investigation. Now, all that immunological basis of obstructive sleep apnea associated with cytokine release, there's a raised interleukin-1, there's a raised interleukin-6, there's a raised tumor necrosis factor alpha. All these three promote the T helper cells to produce more Th2, increasing the chances of allergic manifestation. I would not like to go into the depth of what is Th1, Th2, because it's again in immunology, it will unnecessarily take disturbance of your thought and night sleep also. Allergies and asthma and lack of sleep has been related to an exaggerated allergic hypersensitivities. One study found that the sleep deprivation made people with peanut allergies more susceptible to have an allergic attack, lowering the threshold of peanut exposure required to trigger an allergic attack by 45%. Look at that figure. It simply means, suppose I'm allergic to peanut. I eat peanut chutney or I eat peanut some kind of a podi or anything, whatever it is. Normally I take volume of 50 grams. If I have an obstructive sleep apnea, if there's disturbance of a sleep and everything, even the 5 grams will trigger an allergic reaction. That's the link between the sleep, immune system and your allergies, right? If I would be able to make you clear on that point, I've done my job. This is the circadian rhythm. This is probably 20 years back or 15 years back when there was a boom of, the IT sector coming up in Hyderabad. There were beautiful articles which were coming. I was reading that. Suppose you are extraordinarily working hard, please do it. But if you are sacrificing your sleep, think twice, because there's a biological clock in your body which demands a normal tuning as how it has to run. This is a beautiful circadian rhythm where every time is being recorded by the immune system or the body or the biology, that this is the time when the melatonin is released. This is the time when the histamine is released. This is the time when this chemical is released. This is the time with hormone is released. You name anything that is related to the circadian rhythm. And if you are disturbing this, what is this? This is the biological clock, what your body literally needs. And if you don't sleep properly, or if you're having sleep deprivation, or if you're having sleep arousals, or you have suffered with obstructive sleep apneas, the circadian rhythm is disturbed. And that's the starting point of the diseases or the exaggerations of suffering, right? The circadian rhythm, immunology and allergy. Circadian oscillations of immune mediators coincide with the activity of the immune system. This prepares the host immunological memory to anticipate and handle microbial threats more efficiently. These oscillations may also help to promote tissue recovery and the clearance of potentially harmful cellular elements from the circulation. Now, immunological basis involving inflammatory media. Just now, Dr. Das was telling inflammation. Inflammatory mediators common for allergy and obstructive sleep apnea, the histamine, the interleukin-4, the interleukin-1 beta, and all these leukotriene receptor antagonists. All these things are linked with the common thing. Same thing you see in allergy, the same thing you see in asthma, the same thing you see in sleep apneas, right? Increased airway resistance. There are two ways that major mechanism which works. Increased airway resistance. Where is the increased airway resistance? In the throat. That's what I said in simple language. It's like somebody putting, throttling you, hanging you. That's how the patients suffer in the night. You should be very much aware. In a simple language, I'm trying to make you understand. Increased airway resistance due to increased inflammation of the soft tissue or nasal mucosa. Reduction of pharyngeal diameter resulting from mouth breathing that moves the mandible inferior. Now, the sleep and immune system are closely connected in a two-way response. The sleep and the immune system have a bidirectional immune response. Viral infection affects sleep, thus disturbs body immunity. Consistent sleep strengthens the immune systems, allowing the balanced and effective immune function. This is very important. As an immunologist, allergist, and asthma specialist, I see among the virus, fungi, and the bacterial invasion, human immune system suffers more, disturbs more in a viral invasion. The virus is something, that's why they say viral toxemia. In Telugu, there is a saying, Chinta chachina pulupu chavaledu. That means that you may treat a virus with some kind of antiviral, but the post-viral effects could be deadly. And that's the reason post-corona effect, we are having a lot of complications because the immune system is disturbed. That we need to understand. Chronic fatigue syndrome in America, Dr. Das would be very much aware. Chronic fatigue syndrome is something which is going in high numbers, good athletes, very effective, very high mobility, Athletes also, good working potential people also, they are now suffering with chronic fatigue syndrome. All that is attributed to your disturbance caused by the virus. Now the immune system is interactive. I'll just can slip. Yeah, this is something to close with. Very important carry home message. Sleep immunity and vaccine immunity. Getting sufficient hours of good sleep, good quality sleep helps a well-balanced immune defense that offers strong innate and adaptive immunity, resulting in efficient response to vaccine and less severe allergic reactions. Good sleep helps the brain to consolidate learning and memory. Research suggests that good sleep strengthens the immune memory. Interaction of immune system components during sleep reinforces the immune system's ability to remember how to recognize and react the dangerous antigens. The dangerous antigens can also be your microorganisms. Please understand that. It can be anything which triggers your antibody, anything which triggers your immunity, we call that an antigen. It could be a virus, it could be anything. The mechanism, the pathogenesis and other things are similar. Now, this is a very important study. I would just read one sentence. Studies of the vaccine for hepatitis and swine flu have found that when people don't sleep the night after receiving a vaccine, the body's immune response is weaker. In some cases, it reduces the vaccine's protection and may even require a booster dose. Now you understand, even after getting that booster dose, a lot of people, as a pulmonologist, I get, sir, I got both doses, sir. Why I am getting that corona infection again, sir? Because you are not sleeping. You are not allowing your body to sleep. You thought you became a Superman, He-Man, and other man, but you are not a human man. First, you should allow to sleep yourself. Why? What happens in sleep? Your immune system gets strengthened. That's the carry home message. Now, vaccine breakthrough infections. Studies underline the reduced vaccine effectiveness in adults who habitually fail to get at least 7 hours of sleep. People who get insufficient sleep may not give their bodies enough time to develop immunological memory, potentially leaving them unprotected despite having vaccinated. Look at this point, very important. Now, this is something very interesting. I found it from my international course of pediatric sleep medicine. I found, check your sleep hygiene, how many hours you're required to sleep. And you can really go back and look into your children or adults, whoever are getting sleep. Are they really sleeping well? This is the recommended from American Sleep Foundation, right? Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable information and presentation. We are pleased to inform you that Dr. J. Ajay Kumar, Commissioner of Telangana Vaidya Vidhana Parishad, he is not participated today due to his busy schedule. So on behalf of the Commissioner, we invite Dr. Vinay from Telangana Vaidya Vidhana Parishad to address the members.
Good evening to one and all, and I'm thankful to FTCCI and giving this opportunity, and I'm fortunate, and my boss Ajay Kumar is unfortunate to attend today, and he's busy with the Health Minister Garu and Health Secretary Rizvi Garu in some sort outing of government programs in the health sector. So he's busy, and he said apologies from behalf of him, and he sent me to give address to here. Thank you, and good afternoon to all eminent and dignitaries on this dais and one and all. It's my privilege to address this event on behalf of Dr. Ajay Kumar Garu. And being a commissioner of Telangana Vaidya Vidhana Parishad in the health sector, we are serving nearly about 172 institutes in our state. That too in dialysis and blood banks and whatnot, totally replacements and all specialties. Under control of Commissioner of Telangana Vaidya Vidhana Parishad, there is 350 bedded hospital to 30 bedded hospitals. In that, total 172 hospitals are there. In that, recently FTCCI Shekhar Garu and his team approached us to involve in health sector, and we want to do some activities in health sector also behalf of FTCCI, and he attended our office, and our sir promised, and we brought that notice to Health Minister Garu and Health Secretary also. So your people may come and better to visit once, and we facilitate to have a talk with Sir and Health Minister Garu, and you will be knowing well aware of Health Minister Garu, and we can do behalf of us whatever we can help, and along with your cooperation through the FTC to the common public of our state. And I acknowledge and appreciate the speakers of that Nageshwar sir given very excellent. I didn't heard Dr. Das sir's lecture, but some questions I will ask after my speech to Nageshwar sir, because there's a common questions to be asked to know the common public. Because most of you are not doctors, maybe there may be non-medical people. You should know that one. And we are giving the best services in the health sector so far. And on behalf of us, once again, I promise you to felicitate and facilitate or provide the sector of health from totally from our side in government sector, because we are giving not earlier like that. We are now giving very good service in the government sector now, because all hospitals are improved, all facilities are improved. After health minister involvement in personally to the public small PSC to community health center and area hospital and district hospital and every sector. So in this manner, he is giving very, very good budget also. So in this junction, FTC people came to us and meet, and we are happy to serve with you with your cooperation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I request President to present a memo. Sir, open this floor is open for questions, sir. If any questions, please. Yeah. Mic.
Two things, Dr. Wackenham. One is about his rhinitis disorder. This is mainly because of the concept called hay fever, and it's mostly allergic, which forms because of the mucus. One, is there a natural process of reducing this, or there should be a surgery? What second thing is about sleep apnea. Sleep apnea, mostly most of the doctors suggest that CAPA, that airway system, for reducing it. The second thing is removal of the adenoids and the mucus thing. What do you suggest as the best?
Yeah. Again, as a doctor of allopathy, person who perfectly believes, preaches and practice allopathic science, I tell my patients, allergic rhinitis, do Kapalbhati. Allergic rhinitis, do Jalanithi. What is this? As allopathic specialist, you are talking this. Rest of the things anyway we are going to do. What you patient should do, we should tell that. Jalanithi cannot be performed by me for the patient's sake. The patient should conduct Jalanithi. What is Jalanithi? It's a thousands and thousands of year old technique in India, ancient country, simply taking up hot saline water into one nostril and removing it through another nostril. How does it help? Just now, the question the gentleman asked me, a lot of mucus gets plugged up. That's the way your mucus gets clean, even without a single medicine. That's a very excellent way. Our ancestors were doing that, and we should do that. Next, I was running through the lecture of an international course in pediatric sleep medicine. One of my professor was telling me, one of the simplest way of doing it, making your positive airway pressures inside your throat, is taking up air inside, holding on and removing the air, exhaling air through the other nostril. What does it do? I mean, how do we call that in our ancient thing? Pranayama. You know, this is a very, very simple thing. We forgot. We were not doing it. Anyway, medicines will be applied. Anyway, the modern concepts will be applied. That is my job. What is the job of the patient? Patient has to do certain practices in the house. Alone taking medicines, again I underline, alone taking medicines, doing nothing will not help you to heal fully. Number one, do certain things when allergic rhinitis. Jalanithi works wonderfully. In US, it's called pot niti. Someday I went to the Google and saw Oh my God, it's so much of costly thing that just they used to casually do it how we brush our teeth in the house. That's we every house used to have this, some elderly grandfather, grandmother telling us to do this. We should do it. It's a good practice, right? Next is what I am telling you. The therapy in obstructive sleep apnea, the pranayama technique works wonderfully well. That is what I would recommend, sir. Right? Yeah.
My question, I request people not to follow. From the beginning, from my childhood, I used to sleep at 2 o'clock. Now I'm sleeping I used to sleep till last 3 years, 4 o'clock. Now I'm sleeping at 5:30. Last three hours, I listen to the songs. I get up at 1:30 or 2 because I see that 8 hours sleep is there. And I used to do pranayama and also
Kapalbhati.
Not Kapalbhati.
Jalanithi.
No, taking this hot air,
Achha.
Yeah.
Inhalation, yeah.
I'm not finding anything fault, but do you suggest me? Because I'm trying. Because the cycle has been set. So is 8 hours sleep is necessary or I have to change my sleeping pattern?
Yes, sir. Got your question, sir. Thank you. Now, very important aspect of understanding whether 8 hours are sufficient or not is determined the quality of the sleep. It is determined by the quality of the sleep. Somebody says, I slept at 7 o'clock, got up next day at 10 o'clock, but attended 20 calls from my manager. What do you call that sleep as? Fragmented sleep. And it doesn't help you in any way. It only helps you for just to understand that you are lying on the bed attending the calls. That's all. So the quality of the sleep is something very important. We say the micro arousals also, getting up from that. Normally in sleep apnea, it happens even without your knowledge, involuntarily. When your oxygen levels, hypoxia comes up, when the level of the oxygen goes down, the brain automatically sends signals. How? The moment the oxygen levels in the brain goes down, though you are sleeping, you cough up, you change your position and sleep to one side. Who is making you wake up all this? Your brain. It doesn't sleep. It's aware. 24/7 it is awake. So what is important, I would say that a power nap in between in a day's work for a 15 minutes, yes, good. There's nothing wrong about it. But what is more important is undisturbed sleep. That is what we have to look into. Right, sir? Thank you, sir. Next. Any other questions? Please, sir.
Sir, one last question. Sir, what is the cost of biologicals for the psoriatic patients? Because why I'm asking this is a very eminent people and aged people are high profile people will be having commonly psoriasis. So for that
anybody got the allergy, it can be permanent or
yeah. Yes, sir. I'll answer. I'll take your question, sir. Please. Naveen sir asked me, Dr. Vinay, I'm sorry, sir. Dr. Vinay asked me. Yes, I agree, doctor, sir. Tuberculosis is a poor man's disease. Allergy is a rich man's disease. That is how it has become like that. But for your kind information, when cell phone has even reached the beggar's hand in the country, he is not spared. He also is now leading the same life as how a multi-millionaire is leading in the house, unable to sleep, talking over the phone, answering to the phones at midnight, 2 o'clock with an AC full above his head and a carpet below his feet. There's no difference. Everyone is going through the same phase. Coming to psoriasis, that's a very important area. Probably FTCCI I would request the August leadership of this board to look into it. Is very, very apt question you have raised. Sir has told about biologicals. Yes, biologicals have a very good role. Initially, we used to have omalizumab. Even now, we are giving omalizumab. But for your information, one omalizumab 10 years back was costing us around 30,000-40,000 rupees. We used to import from US. Lucky we are that in this country now, omalizumab is sold for around 7,000 itself. But even 7,000 is a very high cost for a common man. And there are so many biologicals which have come up. I would not like to name because we should not talk bad about any brand, but 1,60,000 is one injection of biologicals. 1,60,000, and the person needs to take 3 to 4 injections like that. Remember it. And one common question patients ask me, doctor, I'll spend 5 lakhs on this injection. Am I getting cured? Can you guarantee me? It's because he's very correct questioning me. But the answer is, I can't say. Because how your immune system responds is not under my control, neither under your control. What you can control is preventing the trigger of that psoriatic flare and your lifestyle modification. Right, sir? Yeah. Sir, I'm sorry, sir. I got carried away with the science of answering.
If anyone having the allergy, they are taking some medicines after reducing. Is it permanent curable or continuity? It will be there.
Yeah, I'll take this.
If any dust allergy,
yes, sir,
or anything is there, if dust allergy is there, if
yes,
permanently I should not go on the dust.
Yes, sir.
Or
yes,
every time I have to take the medicine when I am going to the dust.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll answer this, sir. I'll take your question, sir. There's an angry kid in your house. Out of the 3 kids or 2 kids, 1 kid is extremely irritant and angry. How much long time he can stay calm? Every time he gets irritated, first job of the parent is to calm him down, cool him down. Doctor, how long my child will behave like this? How long my child will get irritated and angry like this? Immune system reacts like that. It is difficult to predict one's immune system, how it responds, because again, I come back, normally, to put the long answer short, normally I tell my patients, if you go through the screening, if you find the trigger, avoidance of the trigger for the next 1 to 2 years helps your immune system not to produce such a kind of antibodies like IgE, which trigger T cells, I mean to say T2 cells. That's why I avoided too much of immunological discussion, wherein which in future your immunological system will produce T1 and not T2. If you produce T2, you will have serum IgE more. If you have serum IgE more, there's more of mast cells blasting out, releasing histamine. If there's more of histamine in your blood, that is equal to more of suffering. So again, I come back to the answer. Lifestyle modification is a must. We train you, we set you and leave you. For next 10 years, you can be free of that. You want to be free the whole life? The chart and the route and the map is in front of you. That's it. Thank you, sir.
Doctor, beautifully you explained everything. But as you said that Telangana, Andhra and Telangana, both you said many cases are there, but there are only 3 doctors are
yes,
there.
Sir.
Considering Telangana,
sir,
how many doctors you think will be good numbers to take care of our population of Telangana?
Sir, as per the last survey, it was told that there are around 2.5 crore patients in 2 Telugu speaking states of allergic disorders. Now, looking probably Telangana, half at 1.5.
Right.
So looking into that kind of a picture, I think at least you should have 100 doctors handling this, because, you know, the allergic suffering doesn't switch off like a malaria treatment. Yeah, this is an organism, this is the chemical of a drug name, put it on that and you are free. This is tuberculosis, this is the organism, this is the drug, put it on it, you're gone. It's not like that. So our lifestyle changes are extreme nowadays. The pollution is extreme nowadays. The style of living has changed. So you will have more number of allergic disorders and immunological disorders coming in newly every year. So we need more number of at least 100 minimum to start with. We require 50 to 100 specialists to come up into this field.
So we'll be needing your further inputs for that in order to take it forward.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Vinay Saab, there is a very good input for us that we need 100 allergy specialists, right?
Sir is asking same question that as we are having 33 medical colleges and district hospitals also in all districts, anywhere you can plan with your involvement and thank you.
Yeah, that should be really FTCCI can really do a major change, because Industrial sector, let me be very honest with all of you. Industrial sector where people are working round the clock, getting exposed to a lot of allergies, pollution and all these things. We really need to look into that because the productivity drops down.
Right. Perfectly right.
The target is the productivity should be sustained with good health. Now your productivity is lost, your health is lost. It's a major area of concern.
Thank you very much. Let's work together, all of us together, to create a healthier society. Shivji?
Yeah, I have. It's not a question, but I have an observation and comment on Dr. Das. Dr. Das, you have made such a technical, scientific, and research-oriented presentation so simple. So simple that it was interesting and simple to understand. And I'm carrying one thing, a major thing, I think, from your speech for a common man, that eat less food because foods create inflammation. So I'm as such eating less food, but I think it's the required food towards the lesser side. So you will not have problems in life.
Thank you. And we also got superior of Natural Cure Hospital, Dr. Malti. Thank you very much, madam, being here. And Dr. Bhavani. So we can work together for the better society.
For completion's sake.
Nature Cure Hospital.
No, I respect every profession. Everything is God's blessing to cure the human beings. I mean, the temperament of thought. Definitely, ma'am, we'll look into it. One more thing for the completion's sake, what sir has told. The immune system, how it works is, the immunology side of Dr. Das, how he said, it is ever developing, ever growing, and ever active. As long as you are alive, we require a backup support, and that is the memory of the immune system. Everyone need to work on it at different platforms. Not that only allopathy. I'm against the school of thought that only allopathy should treat it. No, allopathy will be our primary focus, but at the same time, Ayurveda can do it. Homeopathy can do it. I may not treat as a person of science. I'm an allopathic. I will treat only allopathic. Doesn't mean that everyone should be treated by allopathy. It's the choice of the patient. Let him go anywhere. Ultimately, every human being should be happy.
Perfectly.
That's it.
Doctor, you got something?
Good evening, sir. Good evening, all the doctors. And thank you for giving me this opportunity of expressing my views also. I was immensely happy and to have more knowledge from eminent personalities. And this one is what my experience of 30 years of our Nature Cure, very simple system of promoting health. So we always believe in promoting health and propagating health. We our school will always teach only health, not the disease side, the other side of the coin. So however, knowing about the disease is also very important. And our system, as all of you, all the doctors was talking about immunity and infection and inflammation, that sir and sir was talking about. So the pranayama or kapalabhati are the less food what we eat. So what we say is suryahara, amrutahara, nirnitahara, sampurnahara. So these are the concepts what we say. So the nirnitahara means, as we said, it's very less food and designed food, which according to the characteristics of the human nature, like individual's nature. And it's always the individual who has to understand self-analysis, what we say, like swadhyaya. That is what we have learned, and combining with like whatever I learned, that should be evidence-based medicine as per our latest technology, latest this one. So I'm thankful for giving me this opportunity, and all the lifestyle modifications we are doing in our Nature Cure Center, sir. And every month till now. Every month we address 100.
Take letter on
100, yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I will be in touch with you. And
yes, sir.
Finally, with the permission of the chair, before I could close in 5 seconds, sir.
Yes.
A very, very interesting thing. Chest Research Foundation, Pune, did a survey. The answer is, where does the human get the energy from? Biryani?
From sun.
Oil diet? What? Grass?
Sun.
What? No. It's not the food which is primary for the energy levels of the body. It's the vayu. It's the vayu. It is proved concept. So you don't breathe properly. You don't breathe the good air. How are you going to be healthy? That is the jiva. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Last one, Dr. Das. Sir, beautiful talk of yours. Great learning. Immunology, how to build up a strong immunity. Simple words.
Yes. Eat less and do exercise. Exercise has many benefits actually. So if you do exercise, see for example, how do we know that a person is healthy? By looking at him. Okay, that is very important. So whenever I travel with my wife and we are in the airport waiting for the flight to board, I tell my wife, this fellow is having this disease, this fellow is having this disease, just by looking at them. She says, why you think about diseases even in the airport? See, one of the characters of the Indian population is what is called as abdominal obesity. Okay, so that should not be there. If your chest is at a lower level than your abdomen, that means you are not healthy. Very, very simple. Pardon? Your abdomen should not be you should not be at a higher level than your chest. So I tell correct. So I tell patients that what was your weight when you were 20 years or 25 years of age, when you were in college? You are slim, you are very active, and then whatever you are eating, you are digesting, and then by digesting, because you are doing a lot of exercise, sports, running, whatever it is. Okay. Whereas what are we doing now? The diet has increased as we are aging, because now you have more money to eat more, and then your exercise has gone down. So you are on too much of a positive side, and so you put on weight and your abdomen bloats. And the abdominal bloating shows that you have insulin resistance, and that is a cause for many diseases. All right?
Right. If you can keep the stomach like this always, then I think
You can't push your abdomen inside by physically. It is not physically possible to do that. You should do more exercise. That's very simple.
Thank you very much, doctor. And I think many of us will be having. Sir, this is the last question from our. Please, last question from our vice president. Yeah.
नहीं मेरे को तो वैसे तीनों लैंग्वेज ही आती है, तमिल भी आती है। काली हिंदी बोलो। ऐसा है, सुबह सुबह में मेरे को छींक आती थी पहले, स्नीजिंग। उसके बाद में मैं हमारे डॉक्टर मूर्ति साहब हैं, ही इज नो मोर इन दिस वर्ल्ड नाउ, है केजीआर मूर्ति, उनके पास गया, वो मेरे पड़ोसी भी थे। तो मैंने कहा डॉक्टर साहब ये छींक आती है मेरे को, एलर्जी है क्या है जरा बताइए। फर्स्ट टाइम, दैट वाज अबाउट 15 years बैक और सो। तो उन्होंने कुछ नहीं बोला, बोले है एलर्जी है आपको, आधी गोली मेरे को लिख के दे दिया, 2 times मॉर्निंग हाफ टैबलेट जेलटेक बोलते हैं, आधी गोली सुबह आधी गोली शाम में। मैंने पूछा डॉक्टर साहब कितने दिन लेनी है, अप टू द लास्ट ब्रीथ, उनका आंसर था। मैं आई वॉज शॉक्ड, मैं बोला यस, बोले अप टू द लास्ट ब्रीथ। वो थोड़े गुस्से वाले भी थे, गुस्सा करते थे बहुत, मतलब एंग्री मैन थे, मतलब डॉक्टर थे, एंग्री मैन थे। उनके सामने कोई ज्यादा बात भी नहीं कर सकते, बस जाना, आपकी बीमारी बताना, उसका लिखा के प्रिस्क्रिप्शन आ जाना, बस उतना ही काम था। वो तो कुछ बात करोगे तो गुस्सा करते थे। तो मैंने गलती से पूछ लिया, बोला डॉक्टर साहब ये दवाई कितने दिन लेनी है, बोला अप टू द लास्ट ब्रीथ गो। ऐसा हो। तो डॉक्टर साहब मैं पूछना ये चाह रहा हूँ, ये एलर्जी की दवाई लास्ट ब्रीथ तक क्यों लेना है, उसका कोई दूसरा समाधान नहीं है, कोई दूसरी, कैन वी डोंट हैव एनीथिंग एल्स अदर देन दैट?
Yeah. Dr. K.J. Murthy is my teacher. He was the man who caught my hand and first did my allergy testing under him. He was the man who told the world public-private partnership. Before KJR Murthy sir, there is no word PPP. It was KJR Murthy, Dr. Saab, who told the World Health Organization that we can work like this. He's a man who brought Clinton to Hyderabad. Clinton spent 45 minutes with him to understand the science and how it goes to the public. Coming to the point straight, he did an excellent job, wonderful job. You know why? What is this is what you are. Simple. What you eat is what you are. Sir was telling eat less. Absolutely correct. Your gut biologicals will decide. The micro thing will decide what you are. How you will affect. That's the reason in Corona we had the gut-lung axis. Those who had weak abdomen, weak gut will suffer more from viral diseases. If your stomach, that's the reason our elders used to say, "Achhi tarah khao, achhi tarah khao." No, that's a correct thing. Achhi tarah bole to zyada nahi. Eat nutritious food. That's an important point. So what he did was absolutely correct. He was trying to set your flora and fauna there inside the gut. He was doing correct. Even today we practice, even today we put such kind of medicines for allergic patients. And the last thing you asked, how long? I have already answered. How long you can make your child not to shout, cry and scream. Till you make him understand that crying, screaming should not be there. Same way, how long you will suffer with allergy till the day you don't understand your body, your lifestyle, or you don't change how it suits your body, you will have suffering. Your medicines are temporary. I make a statement. Medicines are not going to help you lifelong. They will help you to come out of the suffering. But what you need to do more, and last thing is check your lifestyle. Come into a lifestyle which suits your immune system. More workup, more good sleep. Sir was telling, lion sleeps more in the night, doesn't roam in the jungle. That's why it's called a king. So though if you're a king, you have to sleep correctly in the night. So sleep is very, very important, which we have neglected since decades. I think I answered this. Thank you, sir.
Can we have during the tea?
Last question. That's that one. There is a problem in sleep with me. I don't sleep in the daytime, never. But and even in the night also, I sleep at almost 11 o'clock, 10:30. But immediately I don't get sleep.
Yeah.
I get sleep only after say 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, and then I want to sleep after 7 o'clock also, because that sleep is getting after 2-3 o'clock, and then I feel that I should sleep, because in the morning.
Consult doctor, sir.
Yes. No,
The point here, I'll just end it in 10 seconds. The point here is what you mentioned is sleep latency.
Yeah.
It's called the sleep latency. That means that you lie on the bed, you don't go to the sleep. This is not normal. You need to consult a doctor.
Over to Vishala. And I know all of us, we have got not many questions. Over the tea, all of you are most welcome.
Now I request Mr. Anil Agarwal, President of FTCCI, to present a memento to Dr. UN Das. Thank you, sir. I request Senior Vice President Mr. Mila Jayadev to present a memento to Dr. Vakarnam Nageshwar, sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request Vice President Suresh Kumar Singhal to present a memento to Professor P. Redanna, President of FABA. Thank you, sir. I request Mr. BP Acharya, IAS retired, to present a memento to Dr. Vinay from Telangana Vaidya Vidhana Parishad. Yes, sir. Yeah, please. Thank you, sir. Now I invite Mr. Mila Jaydev, Senior Vice President, FTCCI, to propose the vote of thanks.
Very good evening to all. Thank you very much. Shekhar sir, actually this discussion events will be in the Sunday, 10 o'clock we have to start, and with all the family members, with the children, above 16 years children and all the people will there, then people will know what is happening, and when the sleeping is done, when wife is not getting sleep, sleep, then you we can. Doctor will next time with the spouse. Don't disturb him, he has to sleep, or there is a problem will come. All those things. Because of that, you arrange like that meeting, but it's very excellent.
All health seminars are open for along with the spouse, you know.
But yeah, thank you very much. I'm extremely happy for proposal for hearty vote of thanks to G.N. Dasu, eminent physician, silent scientist and CEO, UND Life Science, WA, USA, and Dr. Vijay Nageshwara Garu, pulmonologist, allergist, immunist, founder, director, Ashwini Allergy Center, and Dr. Vinay, Telangana Vaidya Vidhana Parishad. And thank you very much for coming here, sir. I thank the members of Health Committee, Managing Committee, and past presidents, FTCCI, and other industries, government officials, and Telangana Health Department participating in this event. Who is on online also? So many people are on, more than 30 people are online. They are listening, that not sitting here all one. Most of the people are in yeah, it's most of the people outside, they are in, I'm in online meeting since half an hour, so many people are there. That's why I saw that. I thank you, Sanjeev Kumar Agarwal, Landmark Builders, for their support. And I thank you, FABA, for their cooperation to organize the event. I thank you, all the members of the Health Committee, FTCCI, for making the arrangements, ensuring the smooth conducting this meeting. Last but not least, I would like to inform the audience, without whose participation and involvement, no such meeting is completed. I hope that delegates got benefited from today's webinar. I also thank press and media, their coverage for that. Thank you very much. Have a good night to all. Men sleep early. I request you, please join for the high tea, sir.